Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. However you happen to be watching and or listening to this, I want to welcome you to the latest episode of the Gaming Circle podcast. The podcast where, yes, I am excited, and as you can tell from my co-host, it seems that it's going to be one of them shows today. But yes, I'm your host, Mr. K. Asante, TK Asante on all the places we communicate. And I'm joined, of course, once again by the leader of the CEG movement, the one, the myth, the legend, the ever late Saga himself, Mr. Everborn Saga. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
You know what's funny? This is actually the wrong shirt for today. I thought I was getting the other one, which I may do a wardrobe change mid-show.
Oh my God, it's gonna be one of those.
And I know you know what the other shirt is.
I know what the other shirt is. I definitely know what the other shirt is. And actually, I think the other shirt would probably be more appropriate. So when we get there, I will appreciate that you do that.
I literally thought I was putting it on, but by the time I realized it was this one, it was too late. But I was like, you know what? Let's go.
Let it ride. We're gonna let it ride. That's right. We'll
do it live.
So, good morning, one and all. The one and only great chat that is always joining us on these shows. We appreciate y'all for being here. If you are new here, consider hitting that like and the subscribe button. We do this every Saturday morning. Myself and the great Everborn Saga. We will be joined at some point by a great guest who has joined us before to do some more of that Nintendo talk, because, you know, whenever we do that Nintendo talk, we are accused of maybe not being, where are those who are the primary gamers on the platform? So we'll get some representation in the house, absolutely. But yeah, today's going to be probably a more heavily Nintendo-focused news day. But before we get there, there's a lot of other interesting news stories that we will get to, and some reviews and games that we're talking about, as we always do. So again, if you are new here, please consider being a member, consider being a subscriber. If you are, of course, one of our fans, one of our members, one of our subscribers, please tell a buddy, tell somebody that we doing this every week, and we appreciate all of your support. Now, before we get this thing off the ground, I see that Rave Demos, whom one day, sir, we're going to have a conversation about that name, because it used to be somebody else. But anyway, he is here with a $2 super chat, and he says, happiest of Saturday mornings, folks. And he comes with his nice coffee cup. Well, happy Saturday morning to you, good sir. I appreciate you. Thank you for the support. And one day we need to talk about whatever reason that you had to modify that ID at some point. Sounds a little sus to me. Anyway, Mr. Everborn Saga, sir, I think we're gonna start this thing as we always do. You've had some games that you've been playing this week. I have a lot of games I've been playing this week, sir. What games have you been playing?
I have two that I'm gonna bring up, but there's a third that I'd like to. I think while we wait for our illustrious guests, I think we should spend a block just talking about that third one that you and I have both played.
And we will actually talk about that third one. Yeah, we are. Okay, so let's do that part right now. So before we get this thing even going.
No, not yet. Let's because I got two games I really want to talk about, so I want to go over those, and then we can do a dedicated block for.
Sure, absolutely. So for those who don't understand the cryptic nature, we will do the third block, a full block for South of Midnight, which we got a chance to play. Obviously, we had the great Chris Fox on last week, so salute to Chris Fox. It was an amazing show. We appreciated his time. It was so awesome to have him on. So we'll give you our full thoughts, and it'll be spoiler free, obviously, because we're going to do a whole thing there, but we'll wait till we get there. One thing before we even get to the games we're playing, I forgot. I wanted to say this. I wanted to bring this up to you, Everborn. Now, this is the thing that we don't get a chance to discuss in the background. So one of these things is just unfortunate. It's one of those things where we're just going to do it on Front Street. Sir, are we going to PAX East this year?
When is PAX East?
PAX East, as I understand it, is May 8th to the 11th, if I'm not mistaken. That's like a Thursday. Yeah, May 8th to the 11th, a Thursday to a Sunday. Now, the reason I asked this, let me tell you why I asked this, and I'm putting this on Front Street in front of all the audience, all the 91 folks who are watching on all the various places that we're streaming, and shout out to y'all for watching, and thank you guys for being here. The reason I'm saying this is because two things happened. One, I was like, you know what? we should be representing more of these locations. It'd be fun to have GCP in these places. Maybe cover it for the show. Meet people, discuss all that stuff. But we have so many places we want to go, and obviously resources are finite. And by the way, thank y'all to all of you who continue to super chat and all of that, members. All of that helps us to defray all those costs. So thank you guys once again. But I thought, you know what? Let me put it into universe. One, let's see if Everborn Saga is down to go. And two, let's see if PAX will give us credentials. One of those things has already come through. So the question is, are you going, Mr. Everborn Saga?
One more time on the dates. Wait, before you answer, the reason is because we are going to be at the Garden State Anime Fest on May 3rd and 4th. So if it's not then, I think I can do it. Nope, not May 3rd or 4th. It will be May 8th. So you're talking about the Sunday and Monday, the Saturday and Sunday before the show, right? Okay. So PAX will be May 8th to May 11th, which would be Sunday, right? And if you're down, I'm gonna book tickets. I'm gonna fly down to Boston, hang out with the fam, and be down to maybe you hook up with the brother Hargeet Chani. We'll do the whole thing. I think I can. Even if I can't do the Thursday, Friday, I think I can definitely do the Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
So like and work will dictate whether I can do the Thursday, Friday, but I can definitely do the Saturday, Sunday.
Well, all right. Well, salute to all the East Coasters out here in the U.S. East. If you down and it's still available, pull up. We gonna be at PAX East. Let's go. we gonna do that. We doing it live right here. Yeah, so they just sent me an email yesterday night that we got access. So we're gonna go be in there.
Me and the missus will jump in the unnamed truck, and I don't got to take off of work, and her and I don't have to close the business. Right, we don't have to close the business on Saturday, Sunday, so we'll make it work.
Excellent. No, so this is cool. So more to come. We're gonna figure it all out. But yes, I guess we're going to PAX East. That's awesome. They give us access to it. We're gonna send messages and do all that. So there you go. and of course, because our chat realm is awesome and they continue boot on next season, is the man Lucius in the house. He says, "Don't run away from your Elon truck, sir."
Hey, the way those shareholders are going, it might not be an Elon truck for long. So.
Oh boy, I'm waiting for that. So see, we ain't gonna go. We ain't gonna go.
Okay, yes, let's leave that alone. This is not a politics show.
The stock podcast. Anyway, speaking of not politics, and it's not a politics show, but I must warn y'all, there may be some integration talk here because unfortunately, politics is affecting our gaming. But we're gonna get there. But before we do, and
I heard people say keep politics out of gaming, and
good luck with that.
It's funny though. A lot of those people who said keep politics out of gaming are all for this politics. But anyway,
game one that you have been playing.
In other news,
yes, sir.
Well, before we get to that, a little on the real minute. DC Studios released a new teaser for Superman, and
I saw that. Yes,
I don't know if I liked it.
I don't know either.
I'm like, and again, within the context of the film, I'm sure it works, but it's a very odd teaser to show. To like,
it has an odd sense of humor.
This new universe. I just I don't know. It feels like a very strange decision.
Yep, absolutely.
To go with what they went with. Like they spent like it's a 2.5 minute sneak peek, right? And they spent like 1 minute and 30 seconds on crypto, not Coin the dog.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
and that 1 minute and 30 seconds of that dog was spent with him doing stupid things like hurting his boss and all. I'm just like the sense of humor is just a little.
The thing is,
I don't know,
this
man.
is what you're showing me now. It tells me this is gonna be 2.5 hours of right because you want to show me the
navel
best
gazing,
thing, right?
Yes,
like,
yes.
I don't know.
I fear that it'll be ridiculous navel gazing for 2.5 hours. It'll be the Guardians of the Galaxy. It'll be Task Force X.
I don't even know
in Star Wars in Superman clothes. You know what I mean? That tongue-in-cheek humor tone can't be removed from his work sometimes. I don't know. He needs to be a bit more earnest, I think. I don't know.
Even then, I don't think Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't know, like, because it's like they're playing Superman as the straight man, and in Guardians of the Galaxy,
our guest is in our chat already being a little slandered. Sir, bring your slander to the stage.
Well, hold on, Donataku. I'm not saying I don't trust James Gunn to make a good movie. I'm saying this was a terrible teaser, and it didn't do anything to excite me about the movie.
Yeah.
Right. So do I have trust?
Superman always has to have a little bit of a gravitas, even if it's funny, even if there's a different tone. There has to always be a little bit of earnestness and gravitas there. And I did catch that, but I feel like the gumbo soup of earnestness to tongue in cheek maybe out of whack a little.
Let's put it like that. Too much crap.
Well, look,
I can do 30 seconds.
If crypto was being cool, I wouldn't mind crypto, but crypto wasn't being cool, bro. And a teaser trailer is finite time to show me something cool about this movie. And you spent most of it showing me the dog being a dog, but being a super dog, being stupid. Like, leave that for the show, for the movie. The trailer, you gotta show me something cool. You know what I mean? Anyway, on the real minute, sir.
Biko.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, it's not about the campiness. It's just that trailer. It's not a trailer. It's a teaser. I don't think that's what you lead with and spend that. But anyway,
and this is why we love our guests and our audience, because it seems like everyone seemed to be on the same thing. It seemed like a CW show more than a movie. I mean, from a graphical perspective or from the visuals, it did reach that threshold of it looked good, like movie good, but it was a little bit campy and goofy and So anyway,
it's not I don't care about it being campy. I care about you spent 90 seconds of a 2.5-minute trailer on a dog jumping around, and I'm like,
exactly.
You're trying to sell me on a new universe, and this is not.
It was like insulting the intelligence. Yeah, so it was wasting the time a little bit. Yes. I agree. Anyway,
right,
so moving forward, you had some games you wanted to discuss, sir, before we talk about the South of Midnight.
Yes. So South of Midnight later, but there's two other games I've been playing since I completed South of Midnight. Now, and I usually do this. I'll have one game on the handheld and another game on the TV.
And by the way, I should warn you, I have a couple of as well. So let's go. Right. Maybe we have some overlap. We'll see.
So in this case, I'll start with the handheld because I'm a Metroidvania whore.
Handheld gameplay. Let's go.
There's a new Metroidvania that released recently, I believe. It is called Twilight Monk.
Monk. Why does that look so familiar?
This has, I mean, the main character looks suspiciously like Ariel, but with white hair. So,
Ariel.
Ariel of Ariel's Adventure, Chapter 2, available now.
Really?
When you look at the video, you're gonna see it.
Oh man, does that mean we need to get the lawyers on deck? Like, what's going down?
We'll see how it goes. If you put it on the screen, people will see it.
Okay. All right, I will see what I can do. All right, cool. Let's see what we got.
So, but there's a very interesting mechanic where you don't have a sword; you have like this kind of chain hammer, and you can do some really interesting things with it. But the art style is, you see that? If in the chat, if you've read Ariel's Adventure, tell me what that looks like.
Yeah, sir. I hope your TMs are hard and your Nintendo ninjas are strong. You might need them.
It's all good.
Okay.
So this art style is very it's like a mix of Hollow Knight and like Ariel's Adventure. Believe it or not. But I really like the combat, and I think
and for those who don't know, look up Ariel's Adventure. It's on a Windows phone near you.
Right.
I'm sorry. It's not too soon, is it? Come on now.
So but the combat style is really fun. It can get tough as nails, especially with the bosses.
Yeah.
It's an RPG that has a top-down overworld. And then when
Hmm.
you get into a fight in the overworld, it takes you to this 2D view and you play it like an action
Okay.
the action game. It's very
See,
interesting.
I gotta
really
tell you,
like
the art style, like you know how like for example, look how they're doing this boss fight here, right? You see
Right.
how the boss fight has a drop shadow? I don't know if you noticed that. Like
You
it's
hate
on
drop
top of the world. Like
Yeah.
it's not that I hate drop shadows. It's just weird. Like the art style is unusual. It's like, are you in the world or are you on top of the world? And the world itself is painterly, which is cool, but I'm not sure. I wish it looked more like the guy there that's detailed than what the actual representation of it, or maybe go full pixel. I don't know. I'm not sure. The art has not. I'm not sure how I feel about
Well,
it.
you know what? Just do me a favor.
It's
'cause
half
I
in. You know,
understand
I want
what
to
I'm
see some
saying.
gameplay. Yeah.
Go to everbornsaga.com real quick. I just need people
Okay.
to
Okay. Let me find it. Give me a moment. Okay, so this is the gameplay, by the way. That's not bad gameplay though. That's
what
not
happens
bad.
when you get into a fight and there are dungeons and it's
Mhm.
it's a really fun game. The dialogue and stuff's pretty campy and you can see the enemies are a little like cartoonish, but like I really think it's like I'm having a lot of fun with it, and it's actually, it gets challenging when you get into some of these dungeons. So
Okay.
I called it a
So
Metroidvania.
on
but it is-
Everborn Saga, by the way, do you have any gameplay footage of Ariel's Adventure?
It might be some on the website. Just go to. I'm specifically talking not the game design of this. This is a very unique game.
Just talking about the character
I'm
art.
talking about the character that you see on screen.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
to everbornsaga.com. You can see what Ariel.
Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, I have to ask you, and good morning everybody in the chat. Good morning. We're talking about games we're playing. Everborn Saga is positing that he may need to reach out to his lawyers, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not positing anything.
He is. I guess he's bringing it to the congregation. He's asking the question: does he need to reach out to his lawyers, ladies and gentlemen? Let us ponder these thoughts here. So Everborn Saga, we are on everbornsaga.com. We are in the comic section. Where are we going here?
You can see, look at the character design
right in the middle,
Ariel, with the red and blue, with the scarf and the rope belt.
Right there. As you can see. Yes, as you can see, right there. Right. So yes, there is some similarities, ladies and gentlemen. There is some similarities, you know. So I guess I'll leave it to the congregation. I'll leave y'all to decide. Does Everborn Saga have a case? Or like me in the case of well, like me in the case of I forget the name of of Riot Games, that Riot Games character Cassante, you know, who speaks with his African accent and speaks with his chest. Do I have a case? I'm just saying. You know, and Vlad with Paris, you know, there are all these things.
At the end of the day, we put the first game out in 2015 and we haven't gotten the next game out. So you know,
Steve Biko says, send them ninjas, man. Send them ninjas. Because you got a case. Anyway, so okay. So I would like to see your gameplay footage, by the way, in case people forgot that. You know, it's a benchmark in history, but still, you know, maybe history will repeat.
Do you want the current gameplay or the old gameplay?
I mean, if you got new gameplay, that'd be awesome. But if you got new gameplay, I'm sure that the people would be awesome. Yes.
All right, let me.
And the great Luke Lore asks the question of questions, and the answer to that, sir, is yes. But my question to you is: are you going to be at PAX East? Because I will find myself there. It seems like we'll be at PAX East in May. But yes, we will definitely be at Summer Game Fest. Now the question is: will we be at Summer Game Fest as press, or will be at Summer Game Fest as gaming fans? That still remains to be seen. But we did submit a request to them asking if we could be considered. So we shall see. You know, more to come there. But recently we have been giving the blessings from the folks at Penny Arcade Expo. So we will be at PAX. So expect to see more coverage and more footage from us at PAX East, which will be super cool. Now, Everborn Saga wants to quickly take a divergence and show the people some of the footage of his game. So let's show some of that. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you unfortunately did not have the joy or the luck to get your hands on a Windows phone, you may not have access to this anymore. But for those of us who did,
this is the one we're working on.
Oh, this is not it. This is the one you're working on right now. Okay. So this is the new version. Okay, cool. So let's see some footage here. So, for those who and give us a background on it real quick. You know, for those who don't remember.
Ariel's Adventure is a 2D, what we like to call Mariovania. So it is it's not a Metroidvania wherein there's a large map. There are stages that you need to clear, but as you unlock power-ups throughout the game, you will be able to go back to certain levels and use those power-ups to access new parts that you couldn't. So there's a lot of replayability. I don't want to give a level count, but we're aiming for around 60 levels.
Nice.
Lots of secrets, things like that. So you collect these items throughout the levels, and you can use those to like craft a weapon. And once you craft the weapon, it'll start to show up throughout the world. Yeah, so this is I'm just saying, if you look at the character with the anyway, but I do want to get back because I want to sing my praises towards
but before we go back and sing the praises, I just quickly want to continue singing the praises to this game, by the way, which this is the original, this is the OG version, right?
Nope, this is one of
the new version.
Yeah,
new builds. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so it's an update. Okay, very nice. We are still waiting for an update from you, sir. You know, a proper update. A proper update. But anyway, so ladies and gentlemen,
at least
who aren't aware,
unlike a certain a social commentator, I'm not taking money from people. And
oh, sir, are we calling? Are we going to do that today? We going to call out some people? So we're doing it on GCP. Okay, I'm sure the fans would appreciate it. Yeah. Anyway, so yes, so the footage you're seeing on your screen right now is I'd say what, development footage from your game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Excellent. So we will see more from you. We will see more from you as this thing matures, I'm sure. But you were originally here singing the praises of the original content that you're playing this week. Now, you say you're playing this on handheld. Tell me what you're playing. Yeah, Twilight Monk. You're playing this on the ROG Ally X. Okay, so question about Twilight Monk. Besides the boss rush type that we saw, like this is the general overworld is what you're saying, right? So this is very much Zelda-like.
Yeah,
right?
but again, not I wouldn't say Zelda-like, right? I would say like it's an overworld, and when you get into a battle, it's not turn-based. It's this.
Okay.
But then you enter dungeons that have a Metroidvania quality where you have to get.
I do like
things like that.
I do like the platforming and the use of the weapon and all. That's pretty cool. But
there's a lot more you can do with it, right? So like you can drop it on the floor, and then you got to go hand-to-hand mode. And then if you kick it while it's on the floor, you'll get more damage by throwing it at someone, and you can use it.
Of course, you can jump on top of it. Oh, right. That's awesome.
Use it to jump on top of it to get to higher places. You can place it on a lever so that it'll keep a door open, and you pull it back to you. It's like Kratos's axe, right?
Oh, that's really cool. That's a great mechanic. I like that.
So they did a really good job with this. Okay. I'm just saying, if you look at that goddamn character,
yeah, man, I hear you, bro. It's a her, not a him.
No, it's a he.
No,
it's a he.
What? No way.
Yeah, it's a he.
Okay. So it just has more hair. Okay, and the pointy ears made me feel like it's a her, not a him. But needless to say, okay. So all right, white hair, not black hair. Yeah, you may want to talk to them ninjas, bro. Anyway, all right.
So
all right.
I don't know what BT Maverick's talking about. But again, this game is great. I really recommend it. You can get on it on
Where you getting this? Yeah.
For no, not even CD keys. You can get it on Steam. And they have like a 30% off sale or something like that. So you can get it,
Nice.
or is it maybe it's 20%? But the point is, you can get it for under $20 on Steam, and I totally think it's worth it. I've put a few hours into this thing, and I feel like it's going to be one of those things that I know life until it's done. And there's a lot of secrets to find within these dungeons.
It looks fun, right? Man. It does look good. Yeah, it looks really good.
I definitely recommend this one. So this is the handheld game of the week.
Okay. Real quick. The great 108 Dragons TV is in the house with a $5 super chat. What's going on, Lemon? He says, okay, when can we get it on my ROG Ally? Need this. Let's go. Good morning, gaming community.
See, if this is out right now, my behind get Ariel's Adventure out, the game. But we're working on it. Now, the what do you call it?
Next game?
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, I wasn't talking about Dreamcast guy. There's somebody else. Now, the other game that I'm playing on the big boy, the CEG PC.
Oh, Lord help us. Keep going.
CEG.
Yeah. Shut your mouth.
Console experience gamer.
Yes, emotions. Yes, keep going. Oh, yes. Yeah.
So I'm playing this game now. It is a Souls-like. I love the art style. It's cell shaded, but it's super
beautiful.
Super
oh man, it's beautiful. Yes.
I don't go ahead.
No, I was quickly going to tell you. One of the things that keeps in my mind about this game, and I think I have to dig up the footage and find it. In Gamescom, they had a screen like the biggest OLED screen. Like it's so big when you stand in front of it, you feel like you're in front of a black hole. Like it's so black, it's unusually black, and then Kazan shows up on the screen. Stop it! And it's like so huge and massive, and I'm a big guy, and like from end to end, like it's still more screen. And then Kazan shows up on the screen. The blood. I mean, it paints quite the picture. It is beautiful. Oh my God, it's amazing.
Can you talk about? Sorry, not talk about. Can you highlight Roadkill's comment? I think that's super important. This is why we don't like to mention names. But if you do some dumb crap, we're gonna talk about that. Dumb crap.
Yeah, that's right.
Say something dumb.
Hey, come on now. You know what to expect from me at this point. Leave me alone, BT Maverick. Anyway, continue, sir.
So anyway, so I've been playing it. One of the things is I died so many times that it was like, hey, bro, we have an easy mode. Would you like to select that?
Hey, bro.
And I said yes.
Are you Everborn Saga? We have a mode for you.
Well, I do want to be clear, though. The easy mode doesn't turn down the aggressiveness of the enemies, but it does let you give more damage when you attack. So I am currently...
Hold up. The great J Mo Money's in the house. I have not seen this man's... Where you been, bro? It's been a long time. I hope you're doing well. Shout out to you. What's going on? Yes. So how far in this game are you, sir? Because I don't think you're gonna last on this one. Am I wrong? Or what's good?
I am currently on easy mode because there's only easy and normal. There's no hard mode, right? But there's something that is trying to possess you. This is what they tell you in the first 5 seconds of the game. You actually get to fight him after you go through these trials. And I am stuck on that battle. This guy right here, I beat him. But it is just... The game doesn't do a great job at like telegraphing the hits. And it's very, in the beginning anyway, very stingy on the stamina. Not stingy on the stamina, but very like greedy on stamina for dodging, right? So it's like even when they do telegraph a hit and then you dodge, they'll do like 3 more hits and you can only dodge for 2 of them and you're going to be out of stamina and then you get hit. So it's not like
there's some cheapness going on.
Yeah. It's not that the
Yes.
timing isn't right, but you can be perfect at dodging, and they'll be like, you don't got no more stamina, so you're out of luck.
SOL.
Right?
Yeah.
So then, right, and then your attacks with big guys like this, it's not like you just say, all right, I'm gonna do a heavy attack and knock him back. You may not always knock him back when he's in the middle of attack. So it's like you're caught in this, like, well, I can't dodge because I don't have any more stamina. I can't knock him down because he's in the middle of a big attack. And if I block, that causes stamina reduction as well. So if I dodge 2 or 3 times and then I try to block, my block won't even work and my attack won't stagger him. So it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
And this is not a game where you can say, hey, it's all melee focused, right? They have a projectile, but like it is too slow to do anything about these guys. So I'm working on it, but like I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
No, but I mean you can perfect parry, but again, I think that still takes stamina because when I try that, I'm still like getting the stamina cooldown and you're stuck. Because if you get hit when you have no stamina, you can't move. And they'll be
you're just done.
You hit attack. And so it's like a lot of it is getting caught in animations. Again, yeah, but not like Elden Ring. Because Elden Ring, you could if you could dodge, you'd be fine, right? Because there's a dodge cooldown in Elden Ring, not a stamina thing to where you can't do anything, right? So it's just a difference. Like I understand this is what they brought me up with, right? So
let me ask you. I understand it's a Souls-like. I understand it's got the tropes and the formula of the Souls-like. And clearly, what they're doing differently here is the application of their visual design and all of that, right? And I see Erodimus in the chat saying that it's parrying is a more of a heavier focus, so more Sekiro in its execution than Elden Ring. But my question to you is, my criticism has always been for these kind of games that they're heavy focused on their gameplay, which many people love, kind of turns me off. And I need the story to progress me on to kind of keep me banging my head against the wall that is the gameplay. How is the story? Or is it a backdrop to just the gameplay?
Right now, it's just a backdrop, but what they give you in the beginning shows that there was something very interesting going on, like you were betrayed and kind of left to die, and then this demon saves your life, but you don't want the demon controlling you. So do you get revenge? But getting revenge means you're gonna have to let the demon in, right? So that premise is interesting. But again, I'm in this stage now because you have to go through this whole trial, and this is basically what the demo was. It's like a prologue. So you get to try out each of the weapon types and then fight a mini boss and then fight the guy at the end. And so I'm at like 2.5 hours into this thing. But I believe the story's really going to kick into gear after you beat this boss, because now you're out in the world. So I am going to give it that time. I had to put it down because I died like 8 times in a row. Because the problem with this game, the difference between
is that your threshold, by the way? The 8th death, you're like, nah, homie, time to move on.
Not time to move on. It's time to give it a break.
Give it a break.
Yeah, I'll come back to it when I have some more courage.
But
I famously fought the fire giant in Elden Ring for 2 months. So
I remember.
But the thing is, what From Software does better than anybody else, I think, is telegraphing the enemy attack. So they're tough as nails, but you can't say
you see them coming. Yeah.
Right. So this, it's weird when they swing versus when they subtract damage from you, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So it's very difficult to get the timing right on this
pattern recognition is difficult.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, I could just be getting old, but I don't think it's that, because I've played other games. And again, this is the other thing. They'll do multiple attacks, right? So it's not about parrying one of them. And in a game that had a lot of parry stuff like Hi-Fi Rush, you could get the parry because it was on a rhythm. So if you got any kind of rhythm, you could just go to the beat and you know what they're going to hit. Like this is like the people designing these animations didn't have no rhythm. And so it's hard.
So they just put it out there, but there's no rhythm behind it. So if you have rhythm, now you're screwed.
Yeah.
I get you.
So that and again, I'll get used to it, but really think
basically what Everborn Saga is saying for those in the chat who are loving the game, if you like this game and you're playing it well, you got no rhythm. TM Everborn Saga.
That's not what I said at all. But yeah, so I love the art style. I love that it's
hey, what's going on, Paul? Good to see you, brother.
Paul is correct. I love the different weapon types. I don't like that you actually cannot pause this game. If you pause it, they'll still attack you. Yeah.
Seriously? That sucks. And it's a single player game?
Single player game.
Oh, forget about that. That left it went to the bottom of the backlog on that account. That's terrible.
But I mean, it's not an issue because it's not like the people chase you. So if you want to pause, you just get out of,
No, but come on. If you are a single player game and I am playing you as a single player user, I should be able to pause and tell my children to stop acting ridiculous. Come on now. If you are not a multiplayer game, there's no excuse for this. That is terrible. I'm sorry. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah,
I am a one-man band on that one. I'm sorry. Yeah, I cannot stand that.
But I do like the game, and I'm gonna continue to beat that boss and see what like getting into the game will like the real game, like getting out of this prologue area. So I'm definitely sticking with it. And I did a little bit of Avowed, but I'm not gonna lie, I got frustrated with Avowed because of that damn voice.
Oh, here he goes again. Everborn Saga continues his ridiculous tirade over the monotone voice. Eventually, the voice will get better. But until it does, Everborn Saga will continue to be very, very.
Yeah, hold on. Wait. You could pause Elden Ring, couldn't you?
So Elden Ring can't be paused unless you play it offline. The offline version. Offline. Yes. So in the parts in the world where you can like people leave messages and notes and things, you can actually technically you can't, but I did it on the Steam Deck and you could just pause it that way, right? And it doesn't bother nothing. But technically, like you can't go in the pause menu, hit pause, and then the whole world stops. You can make it, but there's no button for it to do it. So they are correct.
Wow, I never noticed that.
And it's because they have that online mechanism, right? Where people can leave notes and people can leave. It's because of that. Yeah. And when you're offline, you can't see those notes.
I mean, I didn't use the notes in Elden Ring. So
me neither. I never used those notes.
But so, okay. So, again, I don't think it's as bad in this game because you have some games where you can't pause, but people chase you. And that doesn't really happen here. Like you can run away to a place that you've already cleared and pause the game. Now it'll suck if you're in the middle of a boss fight and you got to pee or something like that. But
BT Maverick 707 says we need Everborn Saga to do the Avowed voice, God voice, while he tells us why he hates Game Pass.
Okay.
In other words, BT Maverick needs a sleeping agent.
Well, BT Maverick, I will only do that if you lay on a rock.
And we film you from above. We film you from above while you're laying on a rock. That's right. Anyway.
No. But I like the game. I'm still just having trouble figuring out the telegraphs. But it's interesting. I don't know if I'd recommend it at the full price.
Sure.
But I like it.
So Lucius is saying, don't let the fact that Everborn plays his games at 2 a.m. slander Avowed, which is a great game. Don't worry, Lucius. I will also be double clicking into Avowed because I also have finished it recently. So don't worry. His last take won't be the last take that stands on this here show. Don't worry about it, sir. But anyway, sir.
Lomo, I'm not saying I don't have rhythm. I'm saying the game doesn't have rhythm.
He's saying the people who made the game don't have rhythm. So because he can't connect with it at a rhythmic level, the game doesn't have rhythm. And as such, the game makers don't have rhythm. And those who are able to connect with said game, since he is not able to connect with said game and he has rhythm and the game makers and as such the game itself doesn't have rhythm, it means you who connect with the game don't have rhythm.
Well, but to be fair, this might be a flaw in my argument. Hi-Fi Rush rhythm, the rhythm came from the music.
Exactly.
I could listen to the music and catch the pattern of the attacks versus in this, you just have to watch it because it's a very slow musical. So I started Adam Fall, but I don't want to talk
sounds
about
like the keyboard and seat, bro. Sounds like the controller and the seat problem.
I'm not denying that. What we're talking about is whether I'm having fun or not.
Yeah. Okay. No doubt. All right. What else you got for us, sir? Are those the two?
Like I said, I started Adam Fall, but only for like 5 minutes to see what it looked like.
Okay.
It had any extra settings, but I can't speak on that because it was literally like 15 minutes. So.
Okay. So far it's those two, and that's what you've been playing. For me, like I said a minute ago, I will not let Everborn Saga's thoughts on Avowed be the last thoughts on Avowed on this here show, because I too have been playing Avowed, and I beat Avowed over the week, and I loved Avowed. So we'll talk about it. But before we do, slow back slap with a member chat for 13 months. Shout out to you. He says, I hear Barrett is the main character of FF7 Remake.
Well, I don't know the context of this slander. I know it's slander. Somebody's gonna have to explain it to me.
We need some explanations on that one, because if that was the case, let me go get my pitchfork right now. Excuse me. Where are we going? What is that about? We need to know. Anyway, that would be terrible. Anyway, so I have been playing. We need explanations on that one immediately. That's right, because that's a little wild, the notion of that. But anyway, I have been playing Avowed. Oh, hold on. He says that's what something a fake gamer told me this morning. Okay. Wow. Okay. In the DMs, we're gonna click on that one later. Yeah, we're gonna click on that one later. All right. So, and I'm not sure who that is, but whoever it is, watch back. Slowbo Backslap is on the hunt for you. Anyway, Avowed, ladies and gentlemen. I have been playing Avowed. I've been playing Avowed.
You know what I'll still say about Avowed?
Yeah.
Combat has not gotten old yet.
It's great, man. I love that combat, especially the late game combat. I know the voice didn't allow you to get that far, so you are not able to experience the godhood that is the combat.
You know where I am in the game right now? You know where you have to go on that missions and they tell you try not to kill any of the servants of the person of that domain. This is in the second biome.
Yeah,
I'm in there and I'm like, I can't even survive trying to fight them. You want me to not attack them? Like, they're trying to kill me. Like, I don't see sneaking as an option right now.
They're coming for your head, but don't try to kill them. And then eventually you will come across them. And when you do come across them and you do what you do, no spoilers, but your actions will have consequences. I'll just say that.
And I get that, but I'm like, I would like to do this as a stealth mission, but I'm not really seeing an option because there's like a little bit of grass to hide in, but they still see you in it. And all I can do is kill this guy. And once I kill that guy, everybody gets alerted. And now it's a fight.
And now we on like Donkey Kong. Absolutely.
So I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but that's where I kind of put the game down because I'm like, I don't see what they're asking me to do.
So that's how I did it. That's how I did it. So if you have the godlike skill, or not even the godlike skill, there's a skill with your guy. Like actually, you eventually get a godlike skill for that, but there's a skill with your guy where you can be sneaky. You drink the sneaky juice, and it takes your essence, right? But it's a ranger skill. Thank you, Lucius. It's a ranger skill, and once you have it unlocked, I had it set to one of my hotkeys. And then I also have a bunch of the fruit that replenishes essence and health. So I have a bunch of them on deck ready to replenish as it's losing. And then I turn on the sneak and I can walk through the whole damn city. And as long as I have enough of the replenish, I can just basically walk through most of the game without anyone seeing me. So that's how I got through that.
Okay. I'm gonna try that when I get back to the game. I see A Rodimus trying to be
Mhm.
slanderous, saying I think he's trying to be slanderous. So the combat in Avowed is not you know why? You know why it's not repetitious? Because you have more enemy varieties. And there's different scenarios that they put you in with the tool set that they give you that you can use in many different ways. And in another game that we're about to talk about, it's not the move set's fine.
You know, we are kind of talking.
enemies.
We're talking apples and peanut butter right now, man. Two different varieties, but they are still both food. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. But all right, so I will quickly, because we've all talked about Avowed to death. I will say Avowed. I finished Avowed. What was it, over the weekend? It was awesome.
You won that bet.
Oh, you're damn right. I won that bet, homie. You know what it is now, ladies and gentlemen. For those who don't know, we had a bet going in the background. This is a big game. It's a pretty big game, right? Like it's not as big as some games are, but you kind of need to know life if you really want to get the best out of it. It's not a game that you can play while talking to friends. It's not a game that you can play while playing others. You kind of need to be all about this game. You kind of need to play it like Everborn Saga plays games, which doesn't tend to be how I play games. I play a little bit of this while playing a little bit of that, but this game did not lend itself to my play style. So John Wolf, the great John Wolf, knowing me as well as he does, was like, bro, I bet you ain't gonna finish this game. You don't like this game. And I'm like, bro, I really do like this game. He goes, you know what? I bet you are not going to finish this game. Now, this is where I will take a quick divergence and I will deeply plug, join us on the Discord, because that's where this conversation happened. And that is where the fruits of my betting labors will come to its full fruition, because this was on the Discord and we were having a similar conversation in the Discord while also chatting about how I feel that season 2 of the Halo TV show was a far more acceptable
season 2 of the Halo TV show was
story.
Great. It was great.
No, I wouldn't say it was great.
I loved it.
I would say it was a far more acceptable Elseworld story. And if that's how it started, I contend that the masses would have given it a lot less crap than they ended up giving it. Right? It started with season 2 because most of the people and most of the crap that came from season 1, and like 80% of the people by then never even watched season 2. So they just think of season 1 and they think of that crap, right? And I contend that if they started with season 2, you'd have been like, okay, interesting start, could have gone better, right? So because we were having this bet, the idea is if I finish Avowed in a short amount of time, Mr. John Wolf will host a season 2 of Halo watch along, exclusive for our Discord viewers. Now you don't have to be an exclusive member. You can just join the Discord and be part of it, where we will all jump on Discord. Season 2, we will watch it once a week. We'll watch an episode where all the logistics will be defined by Mr. Wolf, and soonly after he returns, and we'll kind of watch it. And I contend now, this is half of me being a little bit facetious, being a little bit slanderous with my betting. But I contend that after this is all said and done, people will have a different take when they finally watch that season 2. That's why I'm doing that. So, Everborn Saga, you were going to say?
Yeah, no, I thought Halo season 2 was great. I agree that everything bad about season 2 came from season 1, and if they had started there, I think people would have gave them the grace to build on that.
This is my point. That's exactly my point. So that's why I'm forcing us to rewatch season 2, and I'm hoping that in so doing, newer members will watch, and we can have that conversation. Yes,
I'm going to stop you right there.
What's happening?
I did not. When you say I said Halo was great, I thought Halo season 2 was great, and I still to this Deontay Wilder day did not like the first Dune, and I thought Rebel Moon was enjoyable. The first one.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you have now stepped into the debate that I was part of the first time they started this. It's been going for how many years now? When Dune first came out, how dare you say that Dune is not as good as Rebel Moon and all of this?
Oh my God, Dune!
Pearls are clutched and pearls were clutched,
and no one will like Star Wars anymore after they've been enlightened by the likes of Denis Villeneuve.
Cheap plug. Join the Discord. This is all the fun you get in our Discord, and as you can see, the slander is leaking from our Discord onto the main show. Forgive us. It is what it is. Let us keep it moving. And let me actually stop real quick because there are a few.
Need to know who said Barrett was the main character.
Yes, yes, absolutely. That's a little crazy. That's a little crazy. Torino Johnson, who's been a member for 10 months. Thank you, Torino. Appreciate you. Says, I love Avowed. Finished it 3 times. There you go. I actually have half a mind to want to roll a different character, try completely different things, because I was a ranger and I focused heavily on wizardry powers.
Okay, stop it. You don't have time for
What's
that.
up?
You just now getting in the Assassin's Creed Shadows. You talking about?
But this is my point. I would love to roll another character, but damn it, ain't nobody got time for that stuff right now. So much to play. Anyway, the great Slow-Mo Backslap with a $2 super chat. He says, if you're done with solo leveling, watch Kaiju number 8. That's on the list. By the way, I'm growing this list. I have a list of movies and TV that people keep saying, hey, and this is on the list, you know.
Yeah, the backlog bandit, right? And
that's you, sir.
Put that with the games that's in your backlog too. You're going to find 2 hours in the day.
Sir, your backlog bandit TM is yours, not mine, sir. Not mine.
This is a fun thing. I was talking with the missus and I was like, listen, I'm just having trouble like focusing these days and whatever. And she was like, this is because you stay up until 2 a.m. every night.
Yeah, playing video games every day. Yes.
You should be going to bed by 10 because you get up at 5 a.m. every morning.
Because you're an old man.
Oh, snap. Floodzilla has become a member.
The great Torino Johnson, $2 super chat. He says, Everborn, some actions are unavoidable in Avowed. So sometimes some actions cause reactions and you just can't avoid it. It is what it is, sir.
But yeah, so I'm gonna try this new thing where I attempt, since I get up at 5 a.m. during the week, I'm gonna try to go to bed at 10 p.m.
Ugh, what are you, grandpa?
How that works.
That didn't work for me.
No, because you ever notice when you actually get sleep, just like how you perform at work, you can make decisions faster, you can think faster, actually better at games, right? Because the hand-eye coordination is just there. And so, like 3 to 5 hours of sleep is just what I would get, what I've been getting every night. And I got to try to increase that. So I can't wake up later, which means I got to go to bed earlier, which means there's probably going to be a lot more handheld gaming during the day.
Now you see why there's a lot of handheld gaming in my life. Yes. There's just not enough time to sit down and do it that way. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. But yes, by the way, and shout out to the great Floodzilla.
The difference,
the awesome contingent of the Linux contingent in our Discord. He's here. He's a member. We appreciate you, Flood. Thank you, bro. Anyway, continue, sir.
That's the difference between me and the missus. It's we both get up at 5 a.m., but she, just the way things are set up, has the opportunity to take a nap in the middle of the day, and I am probably on conference calls during that time.
Indeed. That's right. Oh yeah. You know, sometimes I call my wife and I'm like, oh, it's fun. What did you do? Facials during the day? Oh yeah. You slept until when? Yeah, some of us had to work. Got up at 5 a.m. It is what it is. Anyway, she's gonna see this and like it's gonna be on, man. Oh boy. Anyway. So let me put a final pin in Avowed. I think I will give my final score for Avowed for me was about an 8.5, close to 9. I really loved the combat and how it was dynamic and gave you those options. I also really liked how the story really built on your decision-making processes, right? You can come across solutions before before the problems pop up. And in certain instances, it's great that you come across the solutions before the issues pop up, because if you don't, it'll mess you up. This is Everborn Saga's issue. He's sleeping on a rock. And now he will hear the voice of God telling him how horrible of a human being he has been, and to give Game Pass, the Xbox app, another chance, because otherwise he's considered a pay pig and he pays double for all of his games.
But by the way, so here's my plan. I'm gonna get in bed at 8-ish. Play some games for 2 hours. Turn it off at 10. Lay down and try to go to sleep, which will take some time. And try to make it to try to get in. basically get around 7 hours of sleep. This is my goal.
I've been trying.
It means you start gaming
I'm
earlier.
right around. Yeah, I'm around six and a half. That's where I am right now. I try, but some days my eyes open at 5 a.m. and will not close, even though I got nothing else to do. It is what it is. The life of a working cog. What are you gonna do? So okay, 8.5 for Avowed for me because I really enjoyed it. I hope we get more in that world. I really enjoyed the lore. I really enjoyed how it played out. Ultimately, the decisions, to me, felt like they ultimately did matter. My decisions led to the quote unquote good ending. So I enjoyed that. That was really cool. I liked it, man. I really did. I love the combat system. I love the crafting, how you can make your combat, your weapons better. Loved all of that. You know, the transmog system, the whole deal. So finished that up. Played Avowed, really had a good time with it. And then of course we had an opportunity to play South of Midnight. Now, got a chance to finish South of Midnight, and we're going to talk fully about South of Midnight. But let me move on really quickly and just quickly say that I am now also playing right now AC Shadows. Have you played any AC Shadows, sir?
No, I have not. But I'm doing that. Like I'm waiting. It's going to be so difficult this year, right? Because I do not want to play it before Expedition 33 comes out.
Okay, which is coming up very soon.
Right. And this is why I think I'm going to just stick with Kazan and the Twilight Monk until 33 Expedition 33 comes out, and then No Life that, and then we'll see what May looks like, because I don't know of anything on the calendar for May releases except for Doom the Dark Ages. So I'm cooked.
Okay. And Doom Dark Ages is right behind us as well. It's kind of nuts what's going on. Honestly,
maybe June. It's almost like I shouldn't have bought it at full price day one, because maybe you shouldn't have to it.
And by the way, on that topic, I did what I advocate everybody else do. I just signed up to freaking Ubisoft Plus, right? You earn my business. If it takes me a month, you earn $17. It takes me 2 months, you earn more. As we live in the world where these games are getting more and more expensive, and you want to be about the conversation to be about that life, and you don't want to spend top dollar on everything, that I advocate for those for those services where you can do that. That's what I'm doing. So I subscribed to Ubisoft Plus for a short amount of time, and I am playing AC Shadows now. I would say I think I'm about 13 hours into AC Shadows, which by Assassin's Creed standards is a drop in the proverbial bucket. Like nothing has happened yet. Like you've just started the game basically at that point. My experience with AC in general, while I enjoyed the OG AC, and I will always enjoy Altair's story and how that gameplay worked and the core elements of it, I actually even liked Mirage that I recently played. I haven't finished it yet. I just kind of dip in and out of Mirage from time to time. I like that as well, which is OG AC style. I've also come to really love the new AC style, which is the from Origins, which I loved. I'm Team Bayek forever, right? And then after Origins, I dipped into Odyssey, which I also really enjoyed. Spent like over 200 hours in, and then I spent 200 more hours in Valhalla. Saw that I had half of the way through after 200 hours, and went, nah, homie, I'm done. So I put Valhalla down. I did not like Valhalla. You're on mute, sir.
That's nuts. One thing I will say that I noticed, I did not care for the acting. This is not the accents. I'm talking about the actual acting in Valhalla. It just seemed very generic and phoned in. And from every clip I've seen from this seems like they got much better voice actors.
Bro, I gotta tell you, my experience, that's where I was going. My experience with this game is, this is the best voice acting, gameplay loop, storytelling since Origins. And that's saying something, because I love Abubakar Salim's performance. This is so good. I love it with my whole heart. This is the kind of game where you when you're not playing it, you're thinking about it. So shout out to the great Sycamore, who's I think I saw him in the chat a little while ago. He and I we connect and we share we own this thing right here, which is this is the
Are you gonna
OIN.
demo this thing? Are you gonna demo this thing?
At some point, yeah. At some point.
I keep hearing you guys talk about it. I want to see somebody.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Yeah. The OIN Odin 2 portal basically 7-inch OLED panel, like really beautiful OLED panel, 120 hertz, VR, the whole gamut, right? And it's an Android device, and it runs a chip that's a little bit less performant than the Galaxy S24 Ultra, meaning anything and everything you put on it, it'll crush, right? By the way, what I've been doing is I've been playing Moonlight from my PC to this because I don't want to be in my office, like I said, your handheld gaming, you're out and about. So on here, it plays super native. I've been playing AC Shadows, which obviously can't play on an Android device. So I've been playing it on a PC here and then moonlighting it to this device. And it feels, excellent. I got to tell you, like, if you remember, what's the name of that TV show that came out that really threw people for a loop, won Oscar, won awards, that was Shogun. If you are big into Shogun, if Shogun really, really like captured your imagination when it came out, you need to play AC Shadows. It has very much the same kind of pulpy energy, very much traditionalist base. They tried very hard to steer the story clear, steer the story in that direction to the point where, the looks matter, the way the voice acting and the visual acting work. They did top tier work with the story delivery. And then, of course, it's an AC game, so it's freaking awesome as far as, liquid death, as it were. I heard some people talking about how Naoe, of course, you start as Naoe, and this is nothing, no spoilers. You start as Naoe, and then over time, eventually, you unlock Yasuke. I think it took me about 7 hours or so to unlock Yasuke. I just unlocked Yasuke. I just now am getting used to Yasuke's moveset. People were telling me initially that Naoe would feel a bit like, because your Naoe is set to be the shinobi, you're hiding, you're sneaking, this and that. So you're not as powerful. So you got to be very careful. Whereas in Yasuke, you open the front door, you're kicking through the door and all this. Yes, that is true. But by the time they gave me access to Yasuke, I was liquid death with Naoe. Oh my God. You're not walking through the door, sure, but you're raining death from above. You're like, climbing through the back, like through the back of the castle. You're jumping down. Only way to define it, liquid death. And then they give you access to Yasuke. He's literally like a linebacker, cracking through every door. Everyone sees him. He doesn't care. Block, do the work, as it were. I'm really enjoying the game. It's super fun. I think that games like Ghost of Tsushima set a new benchmark, like put them on their back foot and went, hey, Assassin's Creed, this is how it should be done. And they took the assignment to heart and went, oh yeah, let's up the ante. And they've actually done so, right? So to that point, I am now excited to see things like Gears of War E-Day, because much like you and I, Everborn, said similarly that what do you call it? Space Marine 2 kind of took that formula and set a new benchmark. Now Gears has an opportunity to take that homework and up the ante. I really think UB has done that here. It's so good, like so good. And you can tell it's going to take you many years of your life to finish this game as well. So you're saying when you planning on playing this again? Never.
maybe June. If there's like, I need a month where there's a drought of like interesting things, right?
Okay.
I don't know if between 30, I keep saying 33 Immortals, Expedition 33 followed by Doom: The Dark Ages, if there will be a chance between now and May where I can actually dedicate time, because I could start it now. It would mean putting down for Berserker, but that means I'm only going to play it for like 2 weeks, right? And so I don't know if that's giving it short shrift, right? Like, I don't know if I'm giving it a fair chance if I'm going to get it and just put it down. So I want to play it when we don't have anything on the horizon for a month. You know what I mean? That's how long it takes me. Yeah, well, in 2025, I know.
And for me, what game will be hitting that specific gap, wherever that gap will end up being? Indiana Jones. Because I'm in the catacombs and I have not left the catacombs. No, well, I'm waiting for a gap.
I left the catacombs in that, but like just got sidetracked and have been busy with stuff ever since. And part of it is my problem, because I'll say I'm gonna play one of these big games, and then some random 2D platform will come out and I'll be like, squirrel. and then I
Shiny.
got it.
Yes. Yes.
But the thing is, I know life these 2D platformers though. Like you can see me put 30, 60 hours in those things, and that would have been enough time to beat some of these games. So I'm very interested.
Hey now.
I just Gravity Circuit. I have that game. Highly recommended.
The great Dr. Dry Rub, a man whose name makes me happy every time I say it.
Hey,
he just put Gravity Circuit.
Not one, not two, but 3 Gravity Circuit.
3 Gravity Circuit codes. Shout
out
to the great man.
If you like Mega Man,
yes,
try Gravity Circuit. You will
absolutely. Yes. Any of my Ragoons in the chat, any of those with early days ROG allies with those battery lives that are terrible.
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen,
we got a 4th Gravity Circuit, people.
He's just throwing Gravity Rush codes at people right now. Do not miss that game. If you got one of those old dusty allies that got terrible battery life, Gravity Rush runs like madness on this handheld. He is just throwing Gravity Rush codes in the chat. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much for being here. That's awesome, bro. Thank you. Anyway, so Everborn Saga. Besides that, right? I've been playing AC Shadows and all that. Gravity Rush, Gravity Circuit. Forgive me. Yes, absolutely. Not Rush, Circuit. That's a different game. Another great game by the way, but Gravity Circuit, not Rush. TM. Thank you. All right. So let's talk about South of Midnight, sir. I want you to kick us off because during the preview period, I had the opportunity to play it. For those who aren't aware, Gravity. Yeah, now y'all got me doing it. Gravity Circuit, Gravity Rush. Shut up, man. Yes, it's Gravity Circuit. Anyway, ooh, and this guy's got Callisto Protocol in the chat. He's going crazy.
Wait a minute.
He's throwing Callisto Protocol in the chat.
No, it's more than that though, right? Did you get Turbo Overkill?
Turbo Overkill, like
go above that one.
Man, this man is prolific right now. Thank you, sir. This is amazing. He just decided today's the day for the codes.
I'm telling you, if you're in this chat, I promise you, do not miss Gravity Circuit. I never played Aster. I think I own that game. Hold on, let me check.
I own Asterios. It's like a really cool 2D. 2D, yeah. It looks like it looks like it was almost made on a Nintendo system. It's real cool. Yeah.
Let me see here.
While you pull that up, I will once again thank Dr. Dry Rub.
I have no, I don't have it. I have Ateriana Noctis, which I thought was that. Okay.
He drops all the codes. He's like, back to work. Latest. Shout out to you, sir.
Oh man. Shout out to Dr. Dry Rub.
Well done, sir. Well done. There's a lot of codes in there. If you miss any of them, I'm sure that you can catch it in the replay. Check it out. You'll probably catch some of that. That's real good stuff. Anyway, so I want you, Mr. Everborn Saga, to lead us off with the South of Midnight conversation because I was beneficial. It was lucky enough that I got a chance to play the preview build. This was chapter 3 to 4. Beautiful game. You know, y'all saw my preview information there, my preview talk there. Everborn Saga, you have now had a chance to play through the game. We got a chance to talk to the great Chris Fox. Shout out to Chris Fox and the Compulsion team, on their release. It's in early access, early release now. So if you happen to pay that early release, you want to play it, you can do so. Everborn, what are your thoughts? And before we do, I'm sorry. We will not speak in spoilers at all right now. Just so we know, just so the audience knows, we will not be doing a preview, a proper review of the game, as it were, like a standard review of the game. I feel like for us, the conversation would be better served to actually have a spoiler discussion. And so a lot of the members of our community who themselves are content creators and podcasters are also playing through the game right now, those who didn't get a chance to play it first. So we will have like a round table discussion about it, like in short order. And hopefully, you guys can take part. It won't be a live stream. It'll be something you click on our channels so that you will choose to watch it. We don't want it to be a live stream to kind of spoil it for you. So there's that. So this will just be us giving you an overview. I suggest if you want to watch a very good review that I wholeheartedly agree with, Xbox Era's South of Midnight review, freaking awesome. Great. I loved it. Loved his thoughts on it. Thought it was fantastic. I highly recommend Xbox Era's review of South of Midnight. So if you need a South of Midnight review, go watch that right now. You'll hear that other stuff from us in short order.
Don't watch that right now. Watch us and then watch that after we're done.
Yes, but I will play their review thoughts here in while we have this conversation. But I'll put their stuff in the show notes. Give them a view. They are awesome.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, they're great. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, a couple of things I'd like to say. First, Yuzu, I saw that comment about Sonic Comics. I know there's a DC Comics Sonic crossover that I have not read yet, so maybe that makes me a poser. I'm not sure. Now, the other thing is, Sycamore, we are waiting for the one and only Don Otaku to join us before we get into the Nintendo.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And right now, it is we want to give you our thoughts on South of Midnight. So I'm just gonna not bury the lead and say I gave the game an 8.5. Now we can talk about why.
I think the show gave the game, the GCP as a whole can give the game an 8.5 because I'm there as well. Continue.
Right. The other thing is, yes, we were able to play the game early, but I had already purchased this game out of my own pocket before we had even knew that we would
gotten the code,
get access to this game. And even though I have a Game Pass subscription that it doesn't expire for some number of years, I bought it anyway because that's how excited I was for this game. So whatever I'm about to tell you has nothing to do with the fact that we got a review codes early. Just full disclosure. And we gave out 3 codes for this game last week. So
yes, we did.
So all right, now let the glazing begin. So I thought this game was fantastic. I don't think we've ever seen anything like it. Not in this setting. Not with these actors. Not with the music that is integrated in this way. I think the production value is stellar. I know that if you've been reading anything about the reviews of this game, or you've been watching, content creators talk about it, you've heard talk about a sort of repetitive nature of the combat. We will get into that. But before we do, this is a game that touches on some heavy topics that you just don't see covered anywhere else, and not in this way. This is a game that has an original soundtrack that is tailored to what is happening on screen and in the story at the time when you're playing. The sound design in this game, right? When you're lost and you want to know where to go, and you press the button that kind of tells you where you should go, you just hear this whisper in the side of your ear, even for a double.
And by the way, that whisper, a little bit of trivia, if you remember from Chris Fox that came on the show last week, that whisper was a bunch of schoolgirls in the local area in Louisiana where some of the footage, some of the audio was taken from. So whenever you press that button and it shows you the path, it goes, what's her name? It goes Hazel in the background. That's all little girls in your ear. Like, it's so good. Anyway, please continue. I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
So the thing is, I really like the production value, the mocap, right? The voice acting, all of the visuals of this game. You can pause this game in many occasions and just have a wallpaper. That is how beautiful this thing looks. I personally really enjoyed the exploration of the levels because so here's the thing. There's a flow to the game, right? The game is 14 chapters. The game basically tells you to fight these things that you see on screen. They're in certain zones, and then you fight these things and you do what's called unraveling them. And once you beat everybody in this zone, you go and unravel that thing that you see in the middle. That's sort of the flow of the combat, and then you get back to the exploration, right? And the overall flow is you'll have to do 3 or 4 of these fights. Each time you do one of these fights, you'll get a little cutscene that tells you a story, and you get more pieces of the story. And then when you get the 3 or 4 that you need, you go on a little chase. And then when you go on that chase, you will, which is to get to a bottle tree. I won't tell you what's chasing you. And then after that, every 3 or 4 levels, you'll get a boss. So there's about 4 boss fights in the game, but that's essentially the flow. You explore, you do 3 of these fights, you do a chase scene, and every 3 levels you do a boss.
So let's address Cerebral Paul's question, but
no
before
spoilers.
we do that,
big bad.
Yeah, no spoilers, of course not. No spoilers. Yeah, none. We will address the spoilers, the accessibility question, but before then, would you say, being a little derivative, but trying my best for those who haven't played it, would you say the best elevator pitch of it, which you gave me half of, and I kind of got the other half of myself, would be South of Midnight is the gameplay elements of Hi-Fi Rush, right? Gameplay formula, meaning, like you say, traversal, combat zone, right?
I
And
would
then
say
some cutscenes.
I would say that not the gameplay. I would say the structure of Hi-Fi Rush.
The gameplay structure, the gameplay formula, if you will, is Hi-Fi Rush, and then the gameplay, the narrative formula is Senua's Saga. Kind of.
Yeah, but I don't even know if I would say that, because this is, I just think it's its own thing. I can't even compare it. But
no. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'm being derivative. It's far more its own thing. The language it uses is its own thing. It like the time period it's pulling from is its own thing. The whole thing is its own thing. It just seems like it you can see some inspirations from those other elements as well. That's all I was bringing to this.
Yeah.
But quickly, about the accessibility features, did you use any of them? And I have a few of them listed, so I can tell you some of the offers.
I didn't use any of them, but I did briefly look through it, and the one that I caught was you can actually turn off the combat completely.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so that, and that may speak to the idea of it being separated off into sections, and I know some people interpret that as it being an afterthought, but I don't think it is.
I don't agree with that. Yeah.
And I do, and again, it's an interesting discussion about the combat, because I feel like it is fun. It is complex in many ways. It's very hectic. My issue with the combat is that there are not enough enemy types for me to be able to chain all this stuff together. Because once I've seen the 6 enemy types, I know how to deal with each of them. And I think Hi-Fi Rush did a better job with enemy types and more boss variety, because the bosses,
let me ask you this,
so memorable in Hi-Fi Rush, whereas here they're fine, but they're like, they're not memorable in the way Hi-Fi Rush was.
It seems to me, and I hear your take on the enemy variety issue. It's and the combat that it comes with it, right? It seems to me that what the approach they took with the combat was, we'll give you a variety of enemy, and each variety of enemy will give you a potential combat tool to be able to make that variety of enemy easier for you. If you can use any of your combat tools, but this specific thing here, this is how you defeat that thing easier, right? And it seems to me that if you if I have a criticism of this style, you could play the combat over and over and over and over and over and over, and you'll gain no XP, no benefits at all. It's finding the floofs in the world that then unlocks your capabilities to then be able to have those tools at your disposal when those different enemy varieties show up. So if you didn't do the work of kind of like Crackdown, go into the world, explore, find where the floofs are, use them to augment your arsenal, and now you have all those tools. If you didn't do that, you basically have the same combat tools you've had from day one, and it becomes boring after a while. After that, I would imagine. Right. It just seems to me that those who find it very repetitive and boring did not use like take the game at its fullest capability, did not explore, did not use the flukes.
I want to be fair. I haven't come across anyone's assessment that called it boring. They just said it left.
They called it repetitive. Yeah.
So that's the difference. But again, the thing that I want to just highlight here, when I compare it to Hi-Fi Rush, it is the structure of arena-based combat. They're not enemies are not scattered throughout the world.
It's the idea of traversal, and then arena combat. Traversal, arena combat, and then story beat. Traversal, arena combat, story beat. That is the formula that Hi-Fi Rush has, and similarly the formula that South of Midnight has as well.
Right. And so I think that and the reason I give this an 8.5, because I would say I would say that the bosses are about a 6 in this game. If I was going to rate it just the boss fights, I would say that the combat itself is a 7. So what I mean is they've got a great foundation. I wish they would have built on it more, because I feel like there's so much more they could do. Now the platforming.
Wait! Before we move on, we're moving on, but we still have a question. I quickly want to answer here, real quick. So difficulty levels: 5 adjustable various difficulty levels, right? Objective-based guidance. You can literally have the guidance follow you through the whole game. Every time you press it, it says her name, and objective-based follow you through the whole game. You can turn it on or off. You can control customizations, remap, sensitivity, alternate methods of control, all that. Audio can also be adjusted. You can do audio sliders, things like that. Visual adjustments. You can toggle the motion blur, motion sensitivity, all the motion effect that people were complaining about. You can turn that off. You can't turn it off in cutscenes, but you can turn it off when the game actually is playing. So that's within the accessibility features as well. Obviously, text and HUD elements can be turned off. You can narrative menu, narrative assistance, motion sickness toggles. It's pretty robust. Obviously, accessibility is a journey rather than a statement, right? So some features may work better for some people than others, but I think they did a pretty decent job to cover the larger swath. And to your point, Everborn Saga, one of the accessibility features there is you can either make it that you have no combat at all, so this becomes just a traversal story and a delivery method of a story, and or you can have it do it so that it doesn't do the sub combat arenas and it only does the bosses. So you can do it so that you're only playing the regular combat arena, regular storyline, traversing the world, and then you will get a boss. That's all you get, if that's what you.
Don, when you get in here, I'm gonna adjust that super chat.
All right, we'll put a pin,
brother.
We'll put a pin in the super chat from Don Otaku, the great Don Otaku. He'll be here soon, and then we will read his super chat. We will address it. All right, cool. So yes,
and I hope you could handle when somebody is as critical of what we're about to be with this Nintendo thing. But we will talk about that when you get here, good sir. Now, so to me, like when I look at the entire package of the game, I think that there are certain elements of this game that are like 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. And they almost, and so when you put it against the critiques that I have around the combat and the boss fights, they make up for some of that in a way. I heard people that had issues with the sort of level design and how the levels are set up. I didn't have that issue. I have a really good time with the platforming in this game. It is beautiful,
gorgeous, right? Like, oh my god,
one of the best looking games I've played in a little while.
And the stop motion helps it, don't you think?
Right.
Sometimes you don't like it in gameplay, but it helps it in the cutscenes. The stop motion just gives it extra something.
It is just this combination of
look at this man's face as he stops. It just gives you this,
right. It's mocap, it's art style, it's voice acting, it is just straight up visuals. Yeah. And again, I just needed more enemy type so I could think on my feet more to do these things. And I do agree
about that enemy type stuff. I will just say, for me, So no spoilers again. There are 14 chapters. 13 chapters in the prologue. So 14 chapters, as it were. I didn't get a sense of that criticism until about chapter 12 into 13. Right before then, I was very much into, oh, this specific combat tool is better for this kind of this weapon, but it's not as good as for that weapon. It's as good as for this, and I beat it on a higher level difficulty. So when I first initially caught wind that it was kind of like rote if you didn't really put some combat time into it, I turned up the difficulty and I started doing my floof hunt. So I had all of the capabilities, and it became the ones that come and they swipe you, you have to time it right, and you jump out of the way right on time, and now they're stuck. And then there's another one that you can throw your thing at and turn them into what's his name, crouton, into your benefit for a short amount of time. Like, it started becoming a dance when you had all your powers available. It took me till about chapter 12, 13 to where I was like, yeah, I figured this out. I'm now boss. This is becoming rote, right? So yeah. I don't take that repetition criticism serious to heart for me, because if you did that crackdown, search the floofs and find all that, then the combat stays pretty relevant and pretty interesting throughout.
So the other thing is like, firstly, I just feel like the bones are there, and I also want to say, just, I'll save that comment for when Don gets here.
He's putting bullets in the chamber.
Listen, bullet. I'm ready to fight. But the other thing I'll point out with this game is, the world is beautiful and the gameplay is dope. I 100% agree.
Indeed.
And again, I cannot wait till we get to the
no about spoilers, sir. Don't worry about it, nerd.
Around this.
Shout out to you, sir.
But no, we're not doing spoilers on anything. But I just think this is a great game. I think it is worth the asking price, which is again on Game Pass or $40. And I also with the combat, what I found interesting was the connection of needing to explore in the levels, right? In order to get certain abilities, loot floofs. Yes, absolutely.
Our chat is having fun.
No. But like because of the combat, it made me want to explore more, and I got to experience more of the game. It took me 15 hours to beat this game because every level I was looking all over the place. What floofs can I get? Because I want to do these upgrades, right? And I see.
Bloodzilla. He says at least these AA Game Pass games don't run like stick figures on post-it notes, flip books.
I almost hesitate to call this a AA. This is like a 2.5A.
Yeah, I would say this like started as a AA and then was blessed.
Looking at a game this beautiful, it's hard to say, well, this is AA. Now, one thing I will say, I think my least favorite thing about the game, because again, while I feel like the combat needed more enemy types, I still had fun in all of the fights that I was in.
As did I. Yep.
But the chase scenes did absolutely nothing for me. Just nothing. And again, when I
actually enjoyed the chase scenes myself, I enjoyed the forcing you to chain together your combat, your tools that you'd learned. But yes,
the problem is you could stop any time and wait a few seconds before.
Hey, Paris is on X, and he says Sonic is AA, which also tells me that now we can see chats from X. So that's pretty cool. Shout out to Paris. Anyway,
Sonic got a AAA box.
Hey. We're not talking about we left our on the real minute a while ago. Let's stop the whataboutism, sir.
All right.
Go ahead.
But anyway, the chase scenes are the thing that I feel like need the most work. If hopefully they get a chance to do a sequel, right? And again, when I play a chase scene, like just think about this. Remember Zao, if you were doing a chase scene, or Ori, even better. 80,000 people still trolling. That's like John Wolf trolling from Japan.
From Japan, he just calls in and just like puts the people elbow down and then goes back to his vacation. Anyway,
by the way, Paris, we got to talk offline about things. But anyway, I think that when I play an Ori chase scene, when I play a Zhao chase scene, the thing about chase scenes in games, the whole point is you have to get
you gotta see who's chasing you, and you gotta be able to feel it.
I would have liked to have seen one felt some danger, which means let's show the destruction behind you to know that you can't stop. And then you can't be so forgiving in a chase scene, right? And I think
did you stop a few times to see if there was actual danger?
Several seconds before you die.
Oh, okay.
You stop, look around. So it's just like I just felt like I was running from nothing, and it wasn't. I didn't feel any danger, and you could make mistakes. But what is satisfying about a chase scene is that you have to get it all perfect.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Or you screw up and you have to start all over again. Absolutely.
Right. That and again, it's you can make it as difficult as you want, but the whole point is it's a chase. You got to get it perfect. Maybe build in a set piece in that chase. And if I'm not mistaken, you can even get rid of the chases as well, also in the accessibility features. If I'm not mistaken. Okay. Yeah, maybe I would have done that just to skip it, because I just don't think it added anything to the game. That was probably my least favorite.
I, for one, am different with you on that one. I have an opposing view. While I agree with you that it would have been better to raise the stakes, to show some destruction, show that boulder run coming along as you're Indiana Jones running away, right? I get that. But what I did like about it, and there was not enough of that, absolutely. They should have shown the destruction. What I did like about it is, exactly, show don't tell. But what I did appreciate about it is the fact that during that chase, it affords you the opportunity to, in my mind, have that sense of, okay, what have I learned? I can chain together the floating ability to wall run, to then go to the other ability, wall run. Oh, there's a spike there. You got to go underneath it. You see, like it did, and then you could like catch with a thread, catch those things in midair, and then pull you even further. There's a lot of like locomotion that happened there that I really, really appreciate. Right. So yes, I agree with you wholeheartedly that they should have had more meat on the bones with the chasing. But I did still think that on the whole, the chase scene was fun, because ultimately it had me chaining together all of those things. Hey, shout out to the great Mr. Boomstick Excel in the chat. He too will be on our spoiler discussion. So we'll record that one very soon and join us for that spoiler discussion where we'll get in depth, because I think, and I'll let you go, I think, and we've been bearing the lead here, I think what elevates this beyond anything else, and we're talking about the gameplay, we're talking about the traversal, we're talking about all this, I think what elevates everything beyond all of this is the storytelling. Everborn, I will throw it to you, and you will completely disabuse me of my notions. But I will say, just like back in the day, and it's not the same comparison, but I'm doing it. Just like back in the day, when Elden Ring came out, and everybody was like, this game is a masterpiece. And I'm like, but the storytelling is not there. Like, what is that? And everybody was like, no. These gameplay elements elevated above it all. And it took me a good while, but eventually I got it. I clocked into the Elden Ring gameplay, and I really started to appreciate and understand what it was. I contend that the narrative elements here elevated above everything else, and those gameplay elements that maybe not as big as the narrative elements, even though they are not as big, do not take away from the masterpiece of the narrative that we are seeing here. Everborn Saga, disabuse me of my notions, sir.
No, I mean it, in the areas that it excels, in my mind, makes up for the areas where it needs work. Not fully, right? Because I'm not giving it a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10.
Sure.
I landed at an 8.5, right? I think again, if you had more set pieces in the chase scenes, if you had more memorable boss fights, if you had more enemy variety, I think that's where it is. But again, I think this is and I see Don Otaku's in the chat, so I will say this to your super chat earlier. we can say about Microsoft acquiring these studios, this is the best game Compulsion has ever made, hands down,
Yes.
bar none.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And Hellblade 2 was miles above the first Hellblade. I said what I said.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to argue that the output of Obsidian is insane, and that started when they had the foundation from, the corporate overlords. So I think all of their studios have gotten better. The 2018 studios have gotten better since being acquired.
Yeah,
How
I
about
agree.
that, Jeff?
I agree. Yeah, I
that
agree.
Being said,
so to put a pin in South of Midnight, I guess we'll give it an 8.5 because I agree with your 8.5 assessment wholeheartedly.
8.5.
I think people should play it. Like, if you haven't had a chance to play it, let's speak a little bit to the length of the game. I think it's a perfect length, not too short, not too long. Right? Yes, if you're committed, you could beat it in 2 sittings. I don't think you should do it that way. I think you should spread it out over a week. I think it's a beautiful game that everyone should play. I think that narrative and the way again, the Xbox Era review goes into depth, not in spoiler territory, but into depth about why its narrative is a transcendent one. It speaks to real issues today, about today's issues and the past. It is very, very, very pertinent, very powerful. Chapter 12 had me put the controller down. I had to step away a little bit, had to go dry an eye. I'm just saying, it's a very powerful game. Everyone had different experiences with it. I thought it was amazing, so people should play it. Anyway, Everborn Saga, sir. Anything you disagree?
Hold on. Roshan Eppinger, I want you to highlight that. I want you to highlight that comment.
He said,
gameplay over narrative. If you have to choose, it's video games, not movies. Makes sense to be
8.5.
Okay. Yeah. I agree. But it's hard to have this discussion because I need people to play it as well, because everybody, I hear other people talk about this and it seems like they're being negative, but that's because I think a lot of the discord, that was a fair comment, by the way, Roshan.
Yeah, and he said no slander.
Right.
Fair comment.
No, that was a fair comment. But what I'm saying is, when we talk about this stuff, we're talking about the room for improvement. I think because a lot of the discourse is like ones and zeros. It's very binary, all or nothing. So if you're not like over the roof with something, people think you're saying it's
then it must
bad.
be trash.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm talking about the areas where if they get a chance to do a sequel, this is where the improvement needs to happen. Right?
Yep.
So
and not everything needs to be revolutionary. Not everything not
some elements of this game though, with the music and the
but this is my point. What I'm saying is this is my point. What I'm saying is not every game needs to be revolutionary to be good. So when there are parts of a game that are revolutionary, we should be able to call that out without it going, well, but the gameplay wasn't great. That's not what we're talking about. There are many games that have very serviceable gameplay and very serviceable narratives, and they are enjoyable, and we enjoy them as such. What we're pointing out here is, specifically with this game, in my estimation, yeah, you'll have some questions with the gameplay, and the gameplay was serviceable and fun, but the narrative is transcendent and freaking masterpiece level excellent. So have the same energy. That's what I'm saying.
So I want you to highlight Slow-Mo's comment, and I'm gonna give you one warning, Mr. Andrew Wilkins. One more like that, you're gonna find yourself on a timeout. And I'm being nicer than some of the mods here, so just take it easy.
So Andrew, I read just even a sentence like that's below the belt, good sir. If you don't watch out with that, you will be shadow realmed. Yes,
not today, Satan.
Yes.
But
yes, you will be shadow realm. Yes.
So I do want to speak to this a little bit though. So I understand 100% what Slow-Mo's saying. Says sometimes, like Telltale games, Walking Dead intended to focus on story over gameplay, and they wholeheartedly succeeded at their goal. Here's the difference though. Here's the difference. Telltale never pretended to be an action game, right?
Yes.
So once
they never telegraphed the action.
Once you add the action elements, we now have to judge you on what you've offered us, right? So we can't say that South of Midnight is supposed to be about the story. It is, but they put
And
combat there, so now they got to get judged.
And let's talk to the great brother Ty Talks and his question. But why is the gameplay just okay? Xbox has many studios with talent. Why couldn't someone come in and fix the gameplay and turn it into a 9 out of 10? This is an Xbox management choosing not a managed prop. Understood. Understood. It is a valid criticism, but I would push back on that and say, had that been the move, we would have heard people fighting the other way, saying, "Hey, this corporation is kind of thumbing their nose and coming. We're trying to tell this art house story. We're trying to tell this interesting piece." And by the way, Mr. Ty Talks, coming from where I know you're coming from as well, historically and all of that, you should play this game. Has a lot of really interesting reference points to your people in mind. I feel like had they done what you're describing, the other side of the coin could have been, well, here comes us, a big corporation putting their thumb on the scale of us, little small creator.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
I think that kind of argument is worth it though, because that we're not like putting the thumb on a creator. We're trying to help them when we see a deficiency.
No,
However,
I understand that.
Hey,
but
wait, just one second. Tay, I would only recommend, if you have time, play the game and complete it. Yes. And then let's come back and talk about the entire package.
That's what I was going to say. Right? Yeah, because I have a feeling if he plays it, that criticism may change.
Right? So
I feel like the people who are criticizing it because they're there looking for the gameplay elements, or they didn't connect with the subject matter. Okay. Right? If you don't connect with the subject matter, then all you have is the gameplay elements, and that may fall flat for you. I get that. But I have a feeling, Ty, if you play this, there may be more to it than that, right? When you see the whole package, as everyone is saying, you may come to it going, oh, okay, I see they prioritized A over B. And that may be okay.
But again, I still don't want to disservice what they did. And so when we do a catch-all statement like gameplay, I don't think it takes into account what we're saying here. What we're focusing on is very specific elements of not necessarily saying the combat is just okay. We're talking about the combat variety.
Variety, yes.
Right.
Yes. Variety, the traversal that people had something that, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. I think it's a nuanced conversation that's worthy, but let's play the game. It's a short, not too long, and then let's revisit the conversation.
And the last thing I'll say on that is like the many games have things that are deficient. Right, that you would make better, right? Many games. I don't care if it's God of War. I don't care if it is Halo. There are certain aspects of a game that could be better, right? And we don't say, well, why didn't the bigger studio step in to go fix that that specific element of a game that needs work, right? And so what we're saying is, I think it's more than, if you put it all together, it's more than just okay. If it wasn't more than just okay, I wouldn't have given it an 85.
Yes, I agree.
Right? And so I think what I'm advocating for is look at the whole experience and how the music and storytelling and setting and skill tree and combat and exploration and how all of that complements each other. And then let's have the conversation about what management should or shouldn't have done.
Should not have done. Now, I agree wholeheartedly on that one. I agree. And by the way, Torino Johnson, $2 super chat, says he agrees with Everborn Saga that Hellblade 2 was amazing. You get no slander, no shade from me, sir.
I see you are a man of taste
and culture. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, so we're going to get into the conversation with Nintendo, because there's a lot of Nintendo conversations to be had today. But I had a few little odds and ends that I wanted to chat about before the Nintendo conversation. And then I'm sure that the man Don Otaku will join us momentarily. We'll address his super chat and we'll get into that Nintendo talk. But first, for years now, before I even do that, because I'm a bad host, please, thank you guys so much for being here. Hit the like button if you haven't done so. consider being a subscriber if you haven't subscribed. We are so close to 3,000 subs. We've been at 2.6 and change for some time now. We're 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. We're stuck in that algorithmic loop. So if you have a chance and you want to help us out, you want to help get us past the hump of that algorithmic loop, please be a subscriber to our channel on YouTube. If you love what we do, you hear what we're coming to PAX East. By the way, boom, we're coming to PAX East, man. Hopefully you can join us. We'll talk on the DM, see how that goes.
X, come subscribe on YouTube, right? Why not?
Absolutely, right? So yeah, please help us out. Your membership help us defray some costs. It's always excellent in all your support you give. So thank you guys so much. But all right, let's get to the first thing that I saw that I had to do a little bit of a slow clap because those who have watched this show a while know that although I think Apex Legends is a decent game by and large, I have like a secret hate of Apex Legends for one reason and one reason alone, and that is because since Apex Legends lives, there may never be another Titanfall. And then came this story, which is rumor that there is a Titanfall 3 in development and could possibly be shown off in 2026, or actually released in 2026, meaning you may see it in 2025. Everborn Saga, what is your experience with Titanfall 1 and specifically 2? 2 was my favorite. I loved that game. What do you think?
I love Titanfall 1. I didn't finish Titanfall 2, but I still love it. I will believe this when I see it. That's no shade to Tom Henderson.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
Like
I've been burned too many times. Yes.
Like I don't know what's gonna come back first. Titanfall 3, Sam Fisher, or Jesus. I feel like I've been hearing about all of them for 2,000 years.
Or Silk Song.
Right. So like, give me a trailer and a date, and then we could talk.
Yeah. But I gotta say, like, I was in the world where this would never happen. I had closed my mind to it. It was never gonna happen. Apex Legends is raking in all the dough as it continues to. Right? If you crack that nut on one of those black hole games, why would you ever go back to a single player game? That's what I thought. Even the fact that there's a rumor and speculation that this could possibly be a thing, I'm happy. Salute to the folks at EA. I hope Zampella's involved. Bring me back my Titanfall 3. That's what I had to say. I had to say there. Okay. Another little side hustle story I saw that I thought was kind of interesting that I wanted to just get your discussion on. Did you see this? Far Cry 4 had a censorship patch silently remove nudity after 10 years of its launch.
Oh wow. Okay. Well,
it's kind of interesting. Now
I'm just waiting for the petitions to come out.
Well, here's the thing. It came out, people saw it, the nudity patch, it was a whole thing. People, and I'll leave you to read the story. It was quite interesting. I actually enjoyed I enjoyed the insider gaming coverage of it. But I only cover this story so that I get to tell you the next headline, which is my favorite headline of the week, which is boobs are back in Far Cry 4 following global censorship. So yeah, people bitched about it. They put the boobs back. There you go. But this is the world we live in, where headlines "boobs are back" are necessary. But have you played any of the Far Cry games? I am like a big Far Cry person. Have you played? I feel like Far Cry is one of those things that when it comes out, people make a big deal out of it, and then it goes away. But Far Cry is quietly like a game that people play a lot of. I think it was on.
Tell that to the Ubisoft shareholders. Am I right?
Yeah, there was a Steam sale that it gave me like almost every Far Cry game. I've been playing Far Cry for a long time. Started with the OG Xbox Far Cry, the original Far Cry. Did you ever play that?
I did play
the OG Far Cry. Yes, I really love that game. That was awesome. Shout out to the great Hollywood Rules for becoming a member. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate you. And the great Pixelbit G is here with a $5 super chat. He says it's funny how Uncharted combat and story was just okay, and The Last of Us combat isn't high tier, but frauds call them city worthy. Sums it up or cap. Well, see, these are the moments when I wish I had that little button I could press that goes, hey, that's hella cap. It is what it is. Thank you for your super chat. I agree. It's people's perception or bias showing when they say they keep the same energy, but more often than not, you tend to see what people really think of something when you ask them those kind of questions. It is what it is, But yes, those who haven't tried the game, those who are open-minded, I honestly think you should give it a shot. I think it's an awesome game, and don't take the BS. All right, so all right, let's get into this Nintendo Switch stuff, because Don, I see you in the chat, sir. Hopefully you can join us sooner rather than later. We're gonna get into it because there's a whole lot to get into. Mr. Everborn Saga, I know you were with us in the in the chat.
Before we do that, I do want to. I want to show you guys one thing, right?
Okay.
So,
all right, he's got some visual aids. Let's go.
I don't know if people know this, right? This is something I wanted to talk about last week, but I didn't have it up and ready. So let me figure out this camera situation.
We're doing it live, people.
We're doing it live. So
and by the way, just to warn the public. Ooh, look at that. That's very nice. Well done. All right. So you got the camera situation. Let's put you on Front Street. Hold up. Let's put you on Front Street here and go for it. Yes.
Let me get this Armory Crate trash out of here. All right. So
you may want to tilt it back a little bit so people can see the full screen of it. Yes, there you go. Now, what you showing us?
We are getting out of Steam. And then I'm going to bring up the game bar, right?
Yep, there you go.
A lot of people made a big you-know-what about, the leaked Steam stuff, right? And I would say you can do this in the game bar today. I can launch Steam
now.
I can launch Xbox, and Blasphemous right now is a Steam game. Balatro
and it loads right there. Yes.
Game, right?
Yes.
This is a Steam game next to a Game Pass game. Yes. Right? If I want to launch I
think the only conversation they were talking about though with that was that now that purported image showed it literally categorizing it as a Steam game, not just sitting alongside the other games, but it called them Steam games.
Okay.
Right? And then showed them
more for you. I've got more for you, sir. All right. So boom, we're in Blasphemous, right? And again, this is the game bar already built into Windows today. I can close that out, right? And then, of course, the game bar stops working.
When you need it. Yes, yes.
So these are the games right side by side, and I can filter through Xbox.
But that's technically that's not a first party app, sir. That is a plugin by a third party vendor.
This is first party, and this is a Steam game. Yes. This is an Xbox game. Now I'm launching an Xbox game. Yes. All built in today.
Right alongside
and a lot of people are making big deals about, oh my God, what's going to happen? This makes no sense for Xbox. It's happening today, Colin. No, all right.
It's already there. It's already there.
Right.
Yes.
I just wanted to point that out. These are things that you can do today, and streamlining that process is nice.
Work that they need to do,
but it's not revolutionary. This is my whole point. So I apologize. I just wanted to get that out there because I know a lot of people don't use the game bar and don't understand, but Microsoft are providing these features that puts their stuff right next to other launchers. And everybody believes that the next Xbox will be based on a PC. This is what everybody says. So why is it, it's not as complex as people think.
Why is it unbelievable that they'll be able to put the Steam right alongside?
Why is it unbelievable that they'll be doing what they do today?
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
Sorry for the detour.
Okay. No, not at all. I think that's a good detour. I think that's a detour that matters, and people should have a good understanding of that. But let us move on and let's get to the Nintendo talk. I will ask you first and foremost, And I know them ninjas can be sometimes heavy. Do you want to put video? Should we put video footage on display or just talk?
Are you
What do you think?
insane? Video footage. What are you trying to get the channel, dude?
He's like, the ninjas are on the roof. What is wrong with you?
Mine.
Noe is on the roof right now.
I just pictured Mario with a sniper rifle.
Anyway, no. Okay, so I know you watched the whole presentation, right? As did I. Again, I will cheaply plug that we were in the Discord watching this presentation. A lot of fun to be had. It was really cool. So
you know,
if you have a chance to,
you can show maybe the Marquise Brownlee, the hands-on video.
Yeah, good job. And I actually watched that this morning as well. So I will show the Marquise Brownlee video of it as well. He and prominent YouTubers got a hands-on of the game of the handheld. They got a chance to play a couple of games. Some of the games that we saw, they got a chance to actually go hands-on with. So let me play some of that footage right now. Give me a moment, let me find it. And but please, while I talk about it, while I find the footage, I should say, give me your top level. Like you watched the footage the way I did. You ended up watching it in 4K later. Like, what were your first thoughts?
Well, once again, I'm going to bury the lead. I gave the whole reveal an 8.5. It was initially, a 9, but I had to revise my score after I got some of the details after the fact, like the price of the games and, more importantly, what the battery size was. And I still have some lingering questions around the tech that curiously have not been answered yet, and I almost wonder why. Like, does anyone know? Anyone? I need all the Nintendo stands to come out, and this is why I'm waiting for Don Otaku to get here. How much memory is in this thing? Not storage, memory.
Yeah. How much RAM? Yeah.
You did all these events, you did all this stuff, and nobody.
See, to me, to you, that's the clincher. To me, that what is hilarious.
I think you're gonna say
what is hilarious to me.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, he said 12 gigs. There you go. He said 12
Where
gigs.
Was that confirmed?
Where was that confirmed? We need to see that because we haven't seen that. And Don, this is where I'm going to call you the carpet, sir. I need some answers on this one. The one thing that I needed to hear, like I needed someone to come and talk fully to the community, talk like playing and be mea culpa mode. They said nothing, absolutely nothing. And there are still pending lawsuits about the damn Joy-Con drift. They spoke nothing about it. They spoke absolutely nothing about the fact that this people have like on average 7 or 8 of these things and they die quickly. But the new Joy-Cons are way more expensive. You told me nothing about the fact of whether they're using Hall effect sensors or not. The fact that nothing. And you expect me to just like, oh yeah, they fixed it now. How do I know? They didn't even say they fixed it now. They said nothing. To me, that's wild.
So one thing that Don Otaku points out is that the 12 gigs of memory was confirmed in the leak, and everything else about the leak, like the 120 hertz and all this stuff.
No, we're not talking about leaks, sir, because leaks say lots of different things, and I need some confirmed footage by Hindindu, sir. I need them to come to front of the congregation and say, I got this and I got that. Yes, we heard the DLSS is in the machine.
Configurations last minute. So the leak could have been true at the time, and then maybe what you go to market with is different. Who knows? It needs to be officially confirmed by a third party or better yet, Nintendo themselves.
Yes. Look, and I know I could be a one-man band on some of these things, but as a guy who in this house alone has about 12 Joy-Cons, and I'd say maybe 6 of them work because I got kids, right? And they drifted and they crazy. You could have at least given a little bit of word salad to, hey, better workmanship. It's kind of like imagine Microsoft comes out with the Elite Controller 3, Elite 3, right? They come out with the Elite 3 and they don't speak at all to any workmanship concerns. You think people would let them get away with that? Knowing what we know about the Elite 1 and the Elite 2 and the issues it's had with QA and workmanship, people would be like, why don't you speak to what you've done to stop it from being riddled with issues 6 months after you buy it? But somehow, so far, Nintendo has not spoken to it. I think that is valid smoke. I don't know. You disagree?
No. I mean, they should speak about it, but again, I know why they're not speaking about it, because the moment they say, "Yeah, we sold you for 8 years a faulty device,"
they're screwed.
Lawyers are gonna lawyer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yes.
So the other thing is, with the battery is a huge issue for me, and that actually made me drop a half a point after the fact, right?
Yeah.
So this battery, the OG Switch battery was about 15 or 16, calculates out to 15 or 16
milliwatt hour batteries. Yeah.
This is 19.3. But you have a bigger screen with double the
bigger screen. Yep. Much bigger screen. Double. Yep. You're pushing a lot more.
Refresh rate. Like DLSS, which is not like inexpensive to run. You're doing all these things, and the battery life is less than half of what you get in a Steam Deck. Forget it. Forget about the ROG Ally X. You got 80 milliwatt hour batteries, but that's Windows. That's a Z1, basically a laptop chip. Forget about that, right? They made it a point to let everyone know that this is just as thin as the original Switch. And I'm like, why? Why does it need to be just as thin? Don't do this Apple stuff.
Yep.
Where you're doing form over function, because at the end of the day,
2
to 6.5 is the estimate that they are giving us with an.
And that's a joke. That is a joke if you think that 2 to 6 is real, because that's probably 2 hours playing Pong. Like that's 2 hours when there's nothing but one dot on the screen.
but then, like, if they quoted you, I want you to think about this. Everybody right now with a Switch, the OG Switch, they quoted you 4.5 to 9 hours. Now ask yourself, did you get 4.5 to 9 hours?
Well, if you didn't play Breath of the Wild, or if you were playing like, something very, very minuscule, sure, you got that time.
But once again, how do you think you're gonna get that 2 hours on Cyberpunk? Is what I'm asking.
Sir, if you even think you're gonna get like an hour and a half on Cyberpunk, I think I got a bridge to sell you. It's called Brooklyn. It's great.
Right. So again, their rough estimates, and again,
yeah,
you knew it because it was fine print under it. Their rough estimates are usually
based on their definition of AAA, which is not the normal market definition.
In a good scenario. So again, I don't think we're even getting that 2 to 6 hours, depending on the game. Obviously, if you're playing Hollow Knight, you're probably going to get the 6 hours.
You'll get that. Yeah, you'll get that. Yeah.
Saying, like for the most part, and you're showing us all of these AAA games running on this thing. Final Fantasy VII Remake running on UE4. What is that? How much battery life are you going to get on that? So I just think that, like, I would have much rather they just said, listen, we're going to charge you an extra $50, right? But we're going to give you a 40 watt hour battery. You know what I mean? And it didn't.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying about that. But when you said that to me before, my contention then and my contention now is them charging you more does not facilitate them giving you more, because the money they're charging you now is not them bleeding from a stone, right? The Steam Deck, the cheapest Steam Deck was them bleeding from a stone, and you know it. They've even came out and they said that. This, even if they charge you $50 more, I don't think you get a better battery. I think they give you what they give you, and it is what it is.
I think that's a different discussion, right? There's a reason they didn't give you a better battery. I'm sure they would like to sell a device that lasted longer than 2 hours, right? So they made a constraint for so that they could hit a price point while still keeping the margins they want. I'm saying maintain your margin, increase the cost slightly in order to make up for this extra battery.
Drake Williams is in the chat, keeping the boot on the neck, because boy, oh boy, that is the most righteous of smoke right there, boy.
Listen.
Like,
and again, this is the thing. So now here's another question, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be very clear. I'm giving critiques. I am absolutely getting one of these on day one. I think
mostly, yes.
Right price,
yes.
And I think they upgraded, except for the battery, they upgraded in the hardware in all the ways I was looking for. So kudos to them. I think they dropped the ball on the size of the battery. Right? Price is good, all that. I didn't even think we was going to get this thing with a dock, and they're still including the dock.
Yeah, you lost that bet. You lost that bet.
Behind that, and that's fine.
Well, what are the terms of that bet? Aren't you supposed to like pay $20 to somebody or whatever?
Yeah, listen, I did one Zelle. I'm waiting for the other party to come back so I can pay.
Okay.
But my point is, like, I love the reveal. I love the new hardware. I really hate the size of the battery that they gave us, because I just don't. I think you're gonna have to walk with this thing tethered. And I know what they're gonna do when they sell you that OLED version in a couple of years. I guarantee you the battery will be bigger.
Of course. Yeah.
So,
but you know what though? They're also that's one thing that we also must we forget to consider. When they build these boxes and they build these devices, they don't just build these devices for themselves. They're building it and understanding that there's an ecosystem that's built up around them. So the moment that they show you this device, now there are hardware vendors that are already making cases for it. The kill switch is already out there. There's already talk of the various like connector chargers to make the battery last longer. That subcategory grows immediately when the hardware is out, even before the hardware is out.
Now you charging me more, right?
But ladies and gentlemen, let it not be said that when we come and we have this conversation that is a one-sided talk. Let it not be said that we're gonna sit here and we're gonna keep the boot on the neck of Nintendo indefinitely, and there'll be no rebuttal. There'll be no people representing the side of Nintendo coming here telling us how somehow them charging you more is worthy of your time and attention. Of course, I'm being slanderous. And that is all to welcome our great guest who joined us this morning. He's in the green room vibing right now. Let's get him to the main stage. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Nintendo man extraordinaire, Dada Taku. What's good, bro? How you doing, homie? He's in the back. He's in the green room. Like what's going on, bro? How you doing, bro?
Champ is here.
Sure. Go ahead.
What's up,
How you doing?
Sante? What up, Everborn? Appreciate y'all for pulling me for sending the invite, having me on the show.
We heard Nintendo. We had to call out Nintendo's Batman.
And of course, I got my briefcase. I got to be lawyer. You feel me? I got to defend. You know what I mean? I'm Johnny Cochran. They call me Donnie Cochran actually, but we here. Okay. So
okay.
Where do you want me to start? I can start with.
So this is where we can start. Let's start from the top, right? Because like us, I'm sure you were watching it very, very like focused. Finally, the rumor, the speculation, all of it is out on Front Street, right? So before we get to any other back and forth, right? Because there's gonna be a lot of back and forth. Let's just keep that buck. We're gonna be some back and forth. But what did you think? Top of the dome, you saw the games they showed off, the hardware they offered. We'll leave that price tag talk to the end. What do you think?
I gave it a 9 out of 2, just fresh off the direct. The main issues that I had was probably going to be opposite of a lot of y'all, but it's that there was too much third party here, not enough first party. I wanted to see more of the first party lineup than ports of games that I already have on my PC or on my Xbox. So I really don't care about the Cyberpunks, the Elden Rings, all of that. I already have all that. And I really don't, for the most part, if it's probably like a new game, there's a chance I'll probably get it on the Switch too. But Oh yeah,
He's
you
calling
know,
out your alter ego. Rodimus is calling out your alter ego in the chat.
Shout,
But
shout out
continue,
to
I'm sorry.
Rodimus. You know, we retired that name, but I'm wearing my Kirby pink just to rep. You know what I mean? But as like maybe later on down the line when there's like day one releases of third party games, maybe I'll probably think about picking them up on the Switch too. But for the most part, I don't really care about playing third parties portably. Maybe like the Final Fantasies, the big JRPGs, turn-based games. Those are probably like the ones I prefer portably. Charge them more.
So okay. Yeah. Hold on. Don, what you just said. When I saw this whole thing, right? I wanted to put myself in the position of you, for example. Someone who plays like primary. Would it be good to say that you play primarily on Nintendo? Like primarily? No. Okay. So even you, who's wearing the cap, who caps for Nintendo, don't primarily play on Nintendo.
I mean,
so to my point though,
go ahead.
I have a feeling that maybe this was for you, right? Like even Don Otaku, who's like foot soldier extraordinaire, he's holding the banner, he's there ready to go. Even he recognizes that he needs to diversify his portfolio in order to get his gaming done on Nintendo hardware. So maybe that's why a lot of those third parties were put forth on front, right? To say, hey Don, you no longer need to go to your your graphics card. You no longer need to go to your other console. Now this thing, although it's a little muddy, we'll talk about that in a little bit, can play Cyberpunk. Just like you want to play Cyberpunk. So maybe that was more an overture to you. It didn't work?
Like I said, maybe once we start seeing newer games that are like day one releases, that's probably when I'll start. Because at the beginning of the Switch, I was like, oh, Doom 2016 running, Wolfenstein, let me go ahead and pick that up. I think that novelty for me has worn off, but
so when you saw the liquid faces, you were just like, nah, homie, I can't play it on this thing.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, that was a 7-week-old build. Like they literally only started 7 weeks in. We gonna see how it look when it actually come out. But according to what we found, that was an old build that they were showing, not a new build. So
old build of what game now?
Cyberpunk 2077.
Cyberpunk. Yeah.
I will say,
by the
way,
Elden Ring looked terrible.
Yeah, I was just about to say the first third party game that we saw was Elden Ring. That
and it didn't look good.
I ain't gonna lie, that spooked me when I saw it because I was like, oh, this looks
didn't look good.
The leaks were lie, all this, the specs was wrong. But then we starting to see some more of the third party stuff start to trickle out. We got, I don't know if y'all seen, but Street Fighter 6 is actually running with better textures and higher resolution than the Series S on the Switch 2.
Okay.
So there is it's going to be case by case.
Thanks, NVIDIA, with DLSS.
I mean, yeah, I would also say thanks to Nintendo for going to Capcom and going, you know.
There's PS on PlayStation. Upscaling is just a part of the game. It don't matter how you get there as long as you get there.
No. I'm just saying, like, NVIDIA is the best at upscaling, and it would kind of, it tracks. Although I'd like you to back that up with paperwork, but it does track that you might see some situations where and that was a question I was going to ask, actually, right? With the pricing, and I be very clear, I think the pricing is fair. I think $450 is a good price for what you're getting, except for the battery life. Well,
before we get there, though, when you say it's fair, do you still consider it fair once you take into consideration that when you calculate it from the Japanese numbers, you're paying $100 more? Or is it $100 more? No, $50 more or something. Theirs is $350. That's the price of it. And historically, every time you've done that translation, it has worked out relatively evenly to us. Now, when you do that translation, we're paying a lot more. Just us. How's that fair?
I mean, part of me wonders if they kind of pre-factored in looming
no doubt.
threat of
No
tariffs.
doubt.
So
No doubt. Yes. So that all of that just makes me, when you say that, I have to, well, actually, I don't think it's fair. There are reasons why it's more than 350.
but then I have to look at, well, is there also a trade deficit or trade whatever going on between the other countries? So when you look at the UK variant, when you look at the Australian variant, and you do that math, it doesn't work out to the
Australian variant actually does work out still. Like we've actually spoken to.
It works out to the Japan or to the US?
Not identically, but it works out to the US normally. So the Japanese folks always tend to get a bit better of a discount, a better of a deal. It just is what it is. As
but I mean, that's
Rodimus is pointing out. But
that's their home, whatever, right?
Sure. But I guess the point I'm making is, when this conversation started and we started talking to folks from around the world, right? From around the world, we are now seeing that in addition to, like, there's more than just translation. There's more than that. There's extra costs in these here United States that have not been there historically.
In any event, I'm still okay with the price, right? Except for the battery. But the question is, right? If we are going to be fair here, if I am spending $450 for a Switch 2, which is the same price as an all-digital PS5 or an all-digital Series X, and $150 more than a Series S, do I have to judge what they're showing me more harshly like I do when I see Elden Ring? Because I feel like I have every right to look at what they showed for Cyberpunk and Elden Ring and say, what the hell is this?
Yes, absolutely. That is what you're describing there.
But really quick, before, when I look at Doom and some other games, or you see Mortal Kombat and how that looked on the Switch, I'm like, listen, they're charging you $200 for this thing at the low end.
You get what you get. You don't get upset.
It's a mobile thing, whatever. But now you're charging the prices as the big boys. You have to be judged on your output side by side with the big boys. So
right now,
your exclusives, but these third-party games, I got to look at you sideways.
Yes. So to your point, right? To the exact point that you're making, and let's really crystallize what you're describing here. Okay. Today, a Legion Go, right? A non crazy variant Legion Go can be had for, if you look around, for about the same price as this 450, right? The original price of it was I think like 750 or whatever, but it is very easy to find it at a very deep discount at this point because its time has passed. But to your point, Everborn, if we use devices that play Cyberpunk as a barometer, right, then all of the apples to origins comparisons don't matter, because all they're doing is trying to sell you devices that play Cyberpunk, right? You got your Series S, you got your Series X, you got your PS5, you got your PS5 Pro, you got your Ally X, you got your Legion Go, pick your point, you got the Steam Deck. All of them are devices that play Cyberpunk, right? And they all have a price point, and then you play Cyberpunk, and then you could decide that. In that very finite definition, who wins that today, right? $450 for the Steam Deck, for the Switch 2, and I hear you, Don. Right, the build that we're talking about is an early build, and we're gonna have to see where they go, right? But this becomes the same conversation over and over again, right? I have a feeling that people forget that we're talking about a mobile processor. Before, people were very much in the, oh my God, impossible port, this and that. So people were championing the idea that it was possible at all. But now with the new talk of the new series, the new series that's coming up, the new generation of Switch 2, people seem to think that, now it's a comparable device to a PS5 or a PS4, for example, or Xbox One or whatever. But you forget, it's still a mobile chip to a desktop variant. So even if it has the same horsepower, it's still you're still really, really trying to fit a square hole into a square box into a round hole, right? You now have more room to do that because the Switch 1 to Switch 2 has more room in the tank, but it's still, again, a very powerful mobile phone playing desktop games, right? But again, to everyone's point, at the end of the day, the for you, the consumer, the common denominator is what is the cheapest, best looking way I can play Cyberpunk, right? So by today's barometer, can we say the Switch 2 is that $450 with what we've seen now? Again, Don, I know that we're going to see more, right? They're going to clean it up. It's probably going to be great, but I would venture to say that still today, maybe a Steam Deck or an ROG Ally would beat that, because yes, I have all the faith in the world that CDPR will make that thing look amazing, but it takes a CDPR to make that thing look amazing. You get a Legion Go tomorrow. They didn't know that Legion Go would be playing it, but you can get it to look great and play exactly the same thing, and it costs the same thing or even cheaper sometimes. Versus this instance where they have to create those impossible ports before you benefit from the hardware you have. What are your thoughts?
So I hear you, and I don't know who's actually thinking that the Switch 2 is going to be a PS5, Xbox Series X, or was ever thinking that
PS4. They were thinking PS4, PS4 Pro.
Well,
that was the
it's also definitely
conversation.
not
Yeah.
on PS4, Xbox One level either. It's definitely a step up from there. I would definitely put it. I mean, just off of how I'm feeling after the unofficial specs of the device, since we don't have actual factual specs yet. But I'm guessing we're gonna be like within
that is not
like
cool, bro.
20% percentile reach of the Series S, sometimes depending on the optimization, because at the end of the day, if the Switch 2 takes off like the Switch did, optimization for the Switch 2 will be a priority over the Series S version.
True. You see, you hear what he's saying?
And optimization is where
you won't hear anybody complaining about them porting to the Switch 2, even though they probably could.
Optimization will be the key to beating these PC handhelds that really don't get the same treatment, because that's what makes the consoles in general a better. They definitely punch above their weight because of optimization, because of that one SKU that you were working for, and you were basically trying to juice out everything you can, versus the PC hardware that is a bunch of different configurations that they just try to make sure it can work on those without actually juicing each piece of hardware.
Yes.
So that's where I feel like the Switch 2 will end up shining compared to a lot of these PC handhelds. Even the next generation ones like the Go 2, I feel like you'll see comparable. You'll start.
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead, everyone. Yeah.
So there's two things here. One, I'm going to be slanderous for a minute. Do you believe that the Switch 2 will be blamed for holding back the generation? Now that they are basically playing all the same games. And as you said, developers, because of the market reach of the Switch 2, will now target this and make sure their games designed from the outset.
And by the way,
this
let's just be clear. Let's just be clear here. Just like Don said that upscaling neural processing is part of of development now, so it's part and parcel of the game. x86 development is part and parcel of the game. Any and every device is an x86 developed device, except for the Switch. So, and actually, even the Switch is an x86 developed device that then needs to be ported to its ARM hardware. So they are the only ones on their island. So you make the game x86, everyone plays, and then you got to go on an island and make it for them special.
Yeah. Well, we've seen rumors of Xbox also kind of looking into ARM as well, as far as the next consoles go. Yep. So they might not be the island. Maybe ARM is the future, and Nintendo is just the first one to see it. But nah, I'm not that. Look, I'm well versed in PC tech, all that. I'm not I'm definitely
Yeah, I
not
understand.
gonna say
I
I'm on the
understand.
same level
Yes.
as y'all. So I'm
No,
not
no,
gonna
no, no.
try to
You
act like
you understand. I know you understand what you're talking about. I'm just
but
saying that specific and you being here is super useful because, like you said, this was a very third party focused show, right? They showed you the hardware and they showed you why you'd want it from a third party perspective, right? For me, I got a 4090. I game on various handhelds. My OIN Odin 2 Portal is like one of the greatest non-switch like switch devices I've ever used. So much power in the tank. It makes it very difficult for me to say that, oh, the Switch 2 is talking to me as a person who used that as my primary device, right?
Yeah.
But you, as a person who loves your Switch and you love that ecosystem, I would think that if they were able to convince you that, hey, this hardware is capable, you might think about prioritizing it as your primary use case. So the Cyberpunks and all those others would be something you would look at. Are you saying that there's no, in your estimation, there aren't users like you who would think next gen to use this as a primary device?
Yeah, there are definitely I know a lot of people, like personally, who they play third party games on their Switch. And no matter if it's Hogwarts Legacy, Mortal Kombat 1, no matter how bad they run, Fortnite, Minecraft, they will play their third party games on the Switch. The Switch 2 for third parties is 100% like that's going to be a godsend for them. It's not me, but there are definitely people out there who do. You can see that these games are still selling on there, like regardless of how people view them. Like even I make fun of the Mortal Kombat 1 ports and all that, but at the end of the day, they still sell. People are still buying.
Yeah, there's still enough Don Otakus out there, so they buying them.
I'm not one of them. Look, I ain't one of them. I'm the hardware upgrade for me. It was actually the hardware didn't really matter because Nintendo games, they push well, not Pokemon. Everything else outside of Pokemon push above the capabilities of the hardware. So it's more about the Nintendo games for me. And at the end of the day, as long as I can play, as long as it's a console that can play Nintendo games and they have improved these Nintendo games, that's all that matters to me.
Okay.
I mean, I'm right there with you. Like I was like Mario Kart World looks amazing. Borrowed a lot from Forza, but we can talk about that a little later day.
It is.
We never say that Nintendo don't borrow, but let's
not get it twisted. It is called Mario Kart Forza Horizon. Let's keep it moving.
Good artists borrow, great artists steal, as they say.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
So, yeah. And they stole from great.
But hold on. Pixel's asking, why are we letting this man cap when we all saw the output? Bloody textures and all. So, what do you say? Because you are a man who is well versed. You have different kinds of hardware. What do you say to the claims that for what you are getting, like price wise, the price of performance, at least, and I can to a certain extent agree with Pixel on this one. Like I will be buying this hardware, but I'm a hardware purchaser. I'm a fan, a collector of hardware like that, a console specifically. But I don't think they showed me a reason to be excited, right? I expect there's more reasons to be excited. I want to see those reasons, but what they showed me specifically, like you guys were talking about Mario Kart, right? Everything and anything they showed a lot of muddy textures. They showed a lot of like pixelated, like, and let me be clear on this. I'm not saying this is slander necessarily. I actually think that's a good look because every single time that we see any of these other events, they show you fake stuff. They showed you hey, let's do video game chat. And I will show you, you can see everybody's chat at the bottom and they're all pixelated as hell, but we're going to show it to you because that's how it looks in real life. I believed that. That was good, right? I don't like it when Yubi and the rest of them will like cut out fake pictures and put it down there and goes, not representative of real footage, and put it in small print at the bottom. This was real footage. I appreciate that. But let's be clear, It's not quite. It's pseudo Discord, is it not?
Oh, yeah.
It's you know.
I don't know. I feel a little bit different about it. I'm like, if that's what
Okay.
they showed you, the experience is going to be even worse. So,
Yeah.
so we'll
You
see
know
how
what I
that
mean?
works out.
So
I
so
doubt that, but-
do you what do you say, or to those who criticize that say, look, man, there, and this is my criticism as well. Like, I call it abacus. Y'all heard me. I've been putting slander on their name for a minute now. But that's because when they release a hardware generation, it lasts 7 to 10 years, right? Today, what they showed me is interesting. It runs Cyberpunk. It does a few things here and there. That tells me that it has a lot of a lot in the tank. But do you see what they showed you here as still relevant 4-5 years from now? Whereas the Switch has still been relevant? Because to me, this is a play for third parties. Everybody can play, right? Is it still playing the Cyberpunks of 2030? I don't know about that. What do you think, Don?
It's gonna be exactly. It's gonna like the Switch 2 generation is gonna go exactly how the Switch 1 generation.
Like the Switch.
Yeah, it's gonna have.
It starts off with third party,
and it's
and
gonna
then
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to compare to the Series X and the the PS5. But then when the PS6 series, whatever the hell they call it, comes out, is obviously going to be outpaced again. But the difference is that the law of diminishing returns only with each generations, it gets smaller and smaller. We saw how long the PS4 and Xbox One was supported. We saw how long the cross-gen, and now with the promise of handhelds from both PlayStation and Xbox, I feel like it's gonna be caught up to at least those handhelds for a little bit longer than how the Switch. It was like a drop off as soon as the PS5 Series X came out. I don't think it's gonna be that same drop off that we saw before.
Real quick, I just want to sorry, I was looking into something. I think the chat will find this interesting. So right now you can put in a reservation for the Switch 2 on Amazon, but not in the US. You can do it in the UK, and they ship to the US. And the price of the conversion for pounds is $4.24. I don't know what shipping will be.
Well, with the shipping and everything, it was like $5.13 or something like that.
So if you want to, like,
sir, drop that link in the
tariffs,
DM.
With these tariffs, you may make it out on top. I'm just saying,
you gotta get it.
This is something to consider.
I'll be flying to Europe multiple times. Somebody can contact me. I might put something in my luggage for you. You know?
Go to Amazon right now.
Yes. Amazon.co.uk.
Yes. Switch to UK and search for Switch 2. It's right there, and they're taking the reservations. They will send you an email, and you'll have 22 hours to make this thing happen. So I apologize, but I wanted to look into that for myself, but now I'm giving you guys the information.
Once he got it done already, now.
Oh, absolutely. You got to get to a place where you can climb while you help people up.
In other words, put on your own mask first before you go help. Indeed. So, Don, the floor is yours, sir. Okay. We have some questions, right? We have some thoughts about potentially what this will be as far as the Switch 2 and what it could potentially, like. Do we think would it be successful or not? You contend that it will be much like the existing Switch generation now, much more of the same. I'm not exactly sure because
I only talked about the performance.
Okay, well then speak to its success. Do you think the trajectory of the Switch 2 is likely to mimic the Switch 1?
No. And I think that is more to do with outside factors than it has to do with Nintendo themselves and the hardware that they put out. Because the $299 price point was at that range of like, it's an impulse buy type of range. $449 is not really that same impulse range.
Yep.
And no matter how much people loved Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I don't think we're gonna get the entire 67 million that sold over here to the Switch 2 at that price point.
Mhm.
I feel like in Japan, it'll definitely do the same or surpass it. So it's going to be successful no matter, like, I think it's going to be successful for Nintendo for sure. I don't think it's going to hit the 150 million plus that the Switch 1 is trajected to.
So just to double click on that a little bit, right? I think because we know this is sort of a cross-platform play, a cross-generation play, meaning they're not going to stop production of the current Switch models that they have at the different price points, especially not before you can do a Switch 2 Lite or a Switch Switch 2 OLED, right? So why get rid of those? So my thing is, I wonder, apart from the people who want those exclusive games, and that's a lot of what people buy the Nintendo platform for, but is there enough is there enough differentiation between the Switch 2 and the Switch OLED and the other ones for a parent? Because remember, the Switch 2 is doing 150 million because there's households that will buy one for each of their kids, right? And so
in this house there are 4 Switches. There's a Switch in there. That's my OG Switch, my OG Switch, Gen 1 Switch. I have my Gen 2 OG Switch, 2 Switch Lights for the kids, right? In this house. In a world where it's 450 and that's before potential tariffs, there is no world where there will be more than 1 Switch in my house, or maybe 2, right? I feel like to Everbone's point, like your price point, even before tariffs, has now brought you in line with the ROG Ally, the Steam Decks, and the other things. And now those questions become like for like, hey, how much bang for my buck am I really getting? And in those conversations, will the Steam Deck really win? Will the Switch 2 really win that debate? I'm not sure in every household.
But before we get to the other places,
and the ROG Ally.
Right.
But
wait a minute. Before we get to those,
remember, those were higher priced with higher performance, and you are comparing it to Nintendo, which was far less priced. You're now talking about $450, and with tariffs, maybe $600 compared to a $400 Steam Deck or $300 Steam Deck.
I still think
the Steam Deck still be subject to the tariffs. Isn't that relative?
There would be, yes, that would be relative. But I'm what I'm saying in this scenario is, like, the existing market would permeate rather than people grabbing onto the new market because that price discrepancy, right? So instead of, oh yeah, we're getting the next device, we'll stick with our existing device or seek existing devices or used or whatever, because this $800 thing ain't it. Like, as a parent, I would rather go and buy a secondary older device for my kids if I'm buying 2 of them rather than buying them an $800 purchase or more with tariffs. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that will be a big factor.
I don't think we should lead people to believe that the Switch 2 will be $800 though. Like,
well, I don't know. I don't know what the price tag will be. I know
I don't either, but it won't be 800.
No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, it is now, what we knew was it was $500, right? What we saw with Mario Kart World, and now they're saying, we have to reevaluate based on factors on the ground, right? I don't know what that means. $50, $100, $200, we don't know. But all I'm saying is, even at $450, you are now outside of, easily purchased for my kids, multiple copies territory. So adding the tariffs on top of that, where do we think that means for them? That's where I'm getting to, right? The 450 base is already outside the realm of I'm buying 2 for my kids. And I think a lot of parents will agree.
Yeah, but even then, because it is still not a completely new thing like Nintendo normally does, they were kind of more conservative because it's like a continuation of the Switch, almost like a Switch Pro or a Super Nintendo Switch. But
what a thought!
What I'm saying is there enough daylight between the other models for a parent to say, now I got to go buy all the kids this new thing for $450 when most of it looks the same apart from some games. Well, I don't know that
Nintendo is going to do their best to try and do that, right? They're going to try to flood the zone with, you don't want that old one, you want this one. That's their job. That's what they're going to try and do.
No, I know, but they're also not going to stop selling the old one, so you can't.
No,
denigrate it
not
too
in the short
They
term.
are.
Yes, not in the short term.
So,
Eventually, they will.
2
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, the 2 years
Yeah.
we're having a different conversation.
Mhm,
But I'm
mhm.
saying if you're a continuation of something, your sales are gonna be more slow and steady than they are
Sure.
new product. You
Sure.
gotta
Yeah.
outlet.
But you know as well as we do that they're trying to offset. So while the sales of the Switch 2 go down, they're trying to bring the sales of so they're not going to denigrate the Switch 1, but they're looking at its exit. Right.
No,
That's
no,
what they're planning its exit.
I'm
Yeah.
only getting at the idea that I don't know
Mhm.
if this once we're in this world of sort of digital libraries that follow you, generations we've said this many years ago, generations are
Don't
dead.
matter.
We're
Yes.
in the
Yes.
world of min spec.
They
And
still matter than Nintendo.
you-
It's maybe not
you-
PlayStation, Xbox, but generations still matter.
Yeah, but we'll see because we'll see how many cross-gen games they do, right?
It's not-
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you.
Okay. If listen again, we're gonna see. Right now, we know Metroid is cross-gen, right?
Yep.
And we know there's other games that are gonna be cross-gen. I wouldn't be surprised if Donkey Kong Bonanza came out later on for the OG Switch because they want to take advantage of that 150 million.
I'm just gonna stop you there. It's not happening. Like this is not.
Right.
I don't know. You can't apply
you're
this
right.
PlayStation and Xbox logic. This they're not gonna.
You mean the company that's charging you for instructional video game that teaches you how to use a Switch 2? They're not money hungry. They are charging you for the instructional video.
If you let me go over the bad of the Switch 2, I'll tell you.
Let's go. Let's go. Give us the bad in your estimation.
Right.
Let's.
Before I get to that though, let me just
Okay.
Let me tell you the good.
These they are not PlayStation, not Xbox. They know why people come to their consoles, and it isn't Cyberpunk. It isn't GTA. It isn't Call of Duty. It's Mario Kart. It's Donkey Kong.
Don, can I ask you a question real quick? Just real quick.
Keep going. I'll be right back. Go ahead. Keep going.
That is why. Look, those are the best sellers on Nintendo, while third parties are the best sellers on Xbox and PlayStation.
Well, I understand that, but then why do a show with such a heavy focus on those third-party games to show we finally arrived and these things are finally coming to our platform? Doesn't it seem like you want to get those other people?
They did the same thing with the Switch 1 event. We saw NBA 2K, we saw FIFA, we saw what else did they have? I can't remember everything that they showed, but they were showing third parties off at the Switch 1 event. It wasn't as much as here, but they were definitely showing it just to show, hey, we can play those third parties. In their first big direct, they showed Doom 2016. They showed that Wolfenstein 2 was coming. They showed Skyrim Edition. I think Skyrim was at the January one, I think, as well. So there is like with the Switch 1, they obviously couldn't do as much, but there was still a focus of, hey, we have the third parties here. We've built up these relationships back with these third parties that they kind of fumbled during the Wii U era. And the third parties were slow to adopt at first because they didn't think the Switch was going to be a success. But now they know that they're knocking at the door to be in this event. There's probably way more.
I'm not complaining about it being a potato, but the thing is, though, you said something about not comparing them to Xbox and PlayStation, and I think that there's truth there historically. But this is the first time where we're seeing like Nintendo say, hey, we're not throwing out the old base like the other guys. This is the first time we see them doing this like hard backwards compatibility thing like the other guys, right? This is the first time we're seeing them do a number 2.
Who invented backwards compatibility? I should say who invented, but who was the one who made backwards who put backwards compatibility on the map? Where we went from GB to GBA, all those games were playable. We went from GBA to DS, all of those were playable. We went from Wii to Wii U, all of those games were playable. They always talked like BC has.
Wait, the Wii U played all the Wii games. The Wii U played all the Wii games. You said the Wii U played all the Wii games.
All Wii
Yes,
games. Every
yes.
single-
But one thing though, I will caveat though.
Okay, trust me on this. Now,
okay.
So you're saying you see a lot of similarities between what Nintendo has been doing, like what they did with the Wii to the Wii U, and the Switch to the Switch 2. That's what you're saying?
So BC is a lot. All of a sudden, we only talked about one thing.
No.
I'm just trying to understand. I'm
trying to see what you're trying to say.
So you do see the similarities to the Wii U and the Switch 2.
I also see the similarities to the DS and the 3DS. I also see the GBA, the GB, the GBA.
How much did the 3DS do versus the DS?
Oh yeah, it sold about half for sure.
About half.
But
Okay.
That's still.
How did the Wii U do to the Wii?
A lot of consoles out there.
No, I understand. How did the Wii U do to the Wii?
We don't talk about the Wii U. Okay.
So we don't talk about the Wii U. So the two comparisons.
Let's talk about the GBA though. How much did that do? We gonna talk about the GBA.
Hold on a minute. The two comparisons you gave me that
I'll be back later. See, y'all keep going. I'll be back.
Are ones that didn't necessarily do as well as their predecessors. Let me be generous.
And by the way, Don, to your point about Nintendo has always been the backward compatibility, that is true. That is indeed true. But the thing that is unusual here is they've always done that by always controlling the hardware, right? Oh, we have this hardware. We put hardware A into hardware B. So now hardware A and B play the same thing. Oh, we go to next gen. We put the old one into the next gen. Now the old one plays the next gen. This is the very first generation ever in Nintendo history where they didn't do that. So in order to play your backward compatible games, they did not put Switch hardware into Switch 2. I'm telling you. Let me tell you, because they did not put Switch 1 SoC hardware into the Switch 2. So your backward compatibility is not seamless. It is a translation layer with certain hooks into hardware, right? Okay. Which means not all of it works. Right. Go ahead.
All I'm saying, Don, is historically Nintendo has been in their own lane, not trying to act like the other guys. Mm-hmm. I am just saying I'm seeing a little game recognized game here, and they're acting a lot like their contemporaries these days. Now that they are back in the top position.
So we need to understand that there was a man who shaped Nintendo for decades. R.I.P. Satoru Iwata. Who is no longer there. He was in charge of the consoles, but now Nintendo has shifted most of its console development and software development over to the new guard. These new guys, the Splatoon creators, the new teams working on the Super Mario Odysseys and the Tears of the Kingdom. Mm-hmm. They are the ones overseeing things now.
And Reggie Fils-Aimé's gone.
Wait, one more time?
And Reggie's gone.
Yeah, we don't care.
The dynamic duo, Iwata and Reggie.
Excuse me? Hold up. He said we don't care about Reggie. That's what he said.
Oh, Reggie.
I like
to hear Nintendo of America don't like we know they're just marketing. Like Nintendo of America don't really do anything that has to do with development of games for the most part. Now
they do take orders from Japan. That is correct.
Now that we have Gio Corsi in the mix over at Nintendo of America, a lot of these third-party publishers from the West that we're seeing is because of him. And we're going to see a lot of third-party support from the West with Gio Corsi. If you know Gio Corsi, he was with PlayStation during the PS4 era that brought a lot of those exclusive games over to the PS4. He was a
dude likes to wear jerseys on stage. I remember that dude. Yes. Yeah. yes. But go ahead.
We out here acquiring talent from everywhere. It's a totally different Nintendo as far as who is.
Wait a minute, Don. Your Honor, I would just like to say that the witness on the stand just said earlier that Nintendo knows why people come to their platform, and it's the first party. It's not these third parties. But now you're telling me they got this.
Why is Gio Corsi necessary? Yes,
over here bringing in all these third parties.
You can come look the Wii U and the Wii, the 3DS.
Uh-oh.
They
What
all
are you doing, man?
came
Scraping and
for-
scrambling.
Look, they came for. I'm not even gonna say the Wii. I don't even know why I brought that up. They came for Wii Sports for the Wii. They came for Mario Kart Wii. They came for. I was gonna say Metroid, but that's not true. Those don't sell. They came for Mario Galaxy, right? But on the Wii, when they already have the Wii, and they saw third-party support like Call of Duty, the Red Steel. So they need to have something to give them in the meantime while these other Nintendo games are coming out.
So what you're saying is they do need their third party. You said they don't, but now you're saying they do.
It's definitely not a need. But the Switch was the first time that they've seen that level of third-party support, even though they never really focused on the third party like that. The main focus was still first-party games, and that's always going to be the main focus. But Nintendo started to see that 70% cut coming in, and they were like, "Oh, we kind of like this 70% cut." Especially with these digital games, even though they still have a big physical base. They're like, these digital games, the 70% cut from our store. Now I see why these PlayStations and Xboxes out here profiting, even though they don't got the first party output that we do. How can we increase?
You mean 30%, not 70. You mean 30%.
Oh, yeah, 30%, not 70. My bad. Yeah, 30. Yes. I'm mixing up. 30%. Yes. Yeah, I like that 30%. We didn't even do nothing. The games don't even run well, but that 30% cut still coming through. How can we improve that?
So they do want to be like the other guys.
He says no, they don't want to be like the other guys, but then explains why them wanting the 30% cut led to them making more capable hardware.
No, I'm not trying.
No,
we're not doing that. Okay, so I never said they didn't want to.
No. Okay, so here's my question. Why would they need to go to Switch 2 if Nintendo games are great, except for Pokemon? We'll agree there. Yes. Nintendo games are great. Danotaku will continue to buy Nintendo games. Nintendo games are wonderful. Danotaku and the Danotaku types don't need Cyberpunk. So why not just keep playing your games and buying your games on the Nintendo Switch? Why go for a Switch 2 when the games that are great that you play are still great there, and the games that you don't play there that aren't great there, you don't care about anyway? Why would they need to upgrade that?
Why are we not still on?
Why would Nintendo?
Why are we not still on the NES? Why did they make it SNES? Why did they make it N64? It's generations. They need to upgrade. That's just how it is.
No. Okay. I understand it's generations, but I have a feeling that you're missing why there are generations. There are generations because eventually that hardware spec becomes too decrepit and old to support, right? And if it's too decrepit and too old to support, even your own internal developers start having problems getting as much juice out of that stone, a la the last Pokemon, right? And to exactly the point that you just made, good sir.
Pokemon is not an example. Game Freak.
Oh, that was terrible.
Can get water out of like they can't even get the water out of a river.
Oh, so you're just saying Pokemon? You're just saying Game Freak just sucks. Had nothing to do with.
I always say this.
Okay.
Pokemon.
Okay.
Not Nintendo. Nintendo owns partially Pokemon, but when it comes to the development of the games, they do not have as much say in what happens to those games. If they own 100% of Pokemon, we would not be seeing that type of performance on these games. I'll tell you that.
Okay, I get that. But that's a divergence from the point. I guess the point I'm asking, the point I'm asking you here is, right? You're saying your premise is that they don't necessarily they didn't need to move like their competitors, right? But when we're teasing through the situation and the events on the ground, your explanation is pointing out exactly why they are following alongside their competitors, right? So, they see this 30%. They like this 30%. They want more of this 30%, which is exactly why PlayStation and Xbox always cultivate the newest, latest, best in order for third parties to continue to provide them that 30%, aka they're trying to do what they did. Okay.
Well, the difference is
no.
they
You said they just believe in generation.
I'm not arguing with logic. I'm telling you what the difference is going to be.
Yeah.
On the Xbox charts, on the PlayStation charts, the best sellers at the end of the generation will not be Xbox games. Well, Call of Duty, but that's
I'm glad you caught yourself.
Yeah, Call of Duty, but we know what happened with that. But they're not going to be Xbox games that they went into at the start of the generation.
Mm-hmm.
On Nintendo's charts at the end of the Switch 2, we will see Nintendo games as the best sellers for the entire generation. That's the difference. Xbox and put their games over on other consoles, whatever, and they're still not going to sell as much as a Call of Duty. I mean, why keep saying Call of Duty like that's not Xbox now? A GTA, an Elden
Minecraft. Oh, never mind. What?
Minecraft. That's a 2011.
That's also Xbox.
We got away from
which still sells. Yes.
Okay.
Which is still on the top 10 most days. But yes, continue.
Yeah. Minecraft is also one of the. I think it's still the lead. Like as far as consoles, Minecraft is most played on Switch anyway. So.
True.
But you just said that wasn't going to happen. And this is a game that they own since the start of the generation because they bought Minecraft in 2014. Don,
yes,
your arguments are not adding up, sir. No, but okay, on a serious note.
Yes.
I am super excited about it, so don't take us giving you a hard time.
Yeah, I know.
But my biggest thing about all of this is I do believe that this is the most conservative we've seen Nintendo jump into a new generation with. And I also believe that with the large focus on backwards compatibility and like them focusing on these third parties, meaning you're going to play the same games. To me, this is them jumping in the fray of jumping in the space of the two competitors that they moved away from to be in their own lane, because they've dominated their own lane so much so that they feel like now
they're creeping in competitor space.
Take some back from them. And if that is the case, based on the price they're charging for games now, based on the entry point of what the hardware is, we now have to judge them as you are not in a separate lane anymore. You're fighting next to them, and I got to judge you based on what they're doing versus what you're doing.
All right.
And that's my biggest thing about it.
Okay, so when the Series S came out, were we judging the Switch based on that because it's the same price?
We should have been, but we weren't. I was the only one doing so. I asked, why the hell is Digital Foundry comparing a Series S to a Series X when they should be comparing a Series S to a Switch? Because that was the same price. No one listened, but that's a comparable
a lot of stuff that we did and didn't do.
But as far as it goes, I don't think that's going to be the case when it comes down to it. It will still be the Switch is a handheld. We might compare it to Steam Decks and ROG Allies. I still don't think we're going to be seeing people be like, I don't think the sentiment, just because the price is closer, is that it's going to be, we need to be comparing them to. We need to be comparing the Switch 2 to the PS5 and Xbox Series X. I think there is still an understanding to this day that the Switch is less powerful because it's a handheld. I feel even consumers, like the average consumer, understands that at this point. And it's the Switch 2. That sentiment is going to continue. Everything that you know about the Switch 1 will still continue with the Switch 2. The way we treat the Switch 1 is how we treat the Switch 2. It's still going to be the same as far as that goes. I feel like sentiment across the board will still be that, except it's going to be a lot. It's going to hit harder than it did at launch.
A lot.
It's going to hit harder than like
even at
a
lot
the Switch 1 compared to the
price.
PS4 and Xbox One is going to hit harder than that comparison for sure.
So you mean
it's going to sell more in year one?
in year
One
one.
more time.
You're saying
He's going to sell more in year one.
No. Not. I mean, maybe just because they have like what was the stock? They have like 20 million, so they probably will sell because they have more stock than what the Switch one had. I'm saying as far as the performance, it's gonna be hitting about like it's gonna be hitting at a higher percentile than the Switch was to the PS4 and Xbox One.
That remains to be seen. He's talking about power level. That remains to be seen because we have not seen what AI functionality has really been put in the tank by NVIDIA there. And by and large, like even though we know that NVIDIA knows its DLSS and it works real well, like the chip here and a little speeds and feeds talk, this is from DLSS 2. So how much more powerful it will really be still remains to be seen.
So
Nintendo has their own proprietary software on there as well.
Which we also have not seen. Which we also have not seen to its full fruition. So we can't really judge it.
I know we're only going off of what we've seen.
And the price, there you go. Like as Lucius is saying, people judge stuff based on the price, and based on it, people will judge it. So far, I'm on Lucius's side on this one. I think it's too expensive.
All right.
Like
if that was the case,
and people could show you more, and then it would justify it. But today, I think it's a little too expensive.
If the price mattered to the extent that y'all are saying that it does, then the Xbox would be outselling the PS5. But it's not, because at the end of the day, what matters is the game.
No.
Do we agree or do we not agree?
Yeah, but that's not. This is so. First of all, somebody called you Donnie Cochran in the chat, and Donnie bobbing and weaving, right? So the thing is, though, it's not about what is going to sell more, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we're talking about is when we assess these multi-platform games, I don't think the Switch gets a pass anymore. Yes. Because you're charging the same price.
Did the Steam Deck get a pass when it launched at $399?
Wait a minute. Let's bring the Steam Deck into it. Let's
bring the Steam Deck into it. Yes.
Now, let's look at the Steam Deck. Let's look at Cyberpunk, right? When you play Cyberpunk on the Steam Deck with Steam Deck settings, will it look and run better on the Switch 2 or the Steam Deck? And will the battery last longer on the Switch 2 or the Steam Deck?
Those are two critical questions.
Battery life, couldn't tell you. I ain't gonna.
Yes, you can.
No, we can't.
You can, but it's okay.
You can scientifically
because
we'll find out in 2 months.
There's
okay. You can live for that. I'll take those news later.
At its core, is a last gen game, and the fact that the Switch will be running the Phantom Liberty DLC, which the PS4 and Xbox One did not have, so we'll see. I don't think we actually see anything from the Phantom Liberty.
Sir, you can't really do that. That you can't really do, because just because the Phantom Liberty DLC was not available to them does not make it better or hardware discrepancy. Yes, it's better for the consumer, but to put the Phantom Liberty DLC into those other two required open code, and they probably didn't get most of their player base there. So why does it necessarily matter to do that? It was added cost. This is a new platform, new excitement. It's worth their financial while to put that code there. Means nothing to do with that, whether the hardware is better or capable. Nothing to do with that. Okay, so
let's go back to
excuses. It's an actual factor. Like, that's not an excuse. Like, if nobody's playing it on Xbox One and on PS3 or PS4 Pro or whatever, then it's not worth their while to open code and put DLC there. But it's a new platform, new potential purchase. So you put everything in the tank there. Doesn't mean the PS4 can't handle it. Just means not enough people are playing it there, so it's not worth their financial while. Right? That's what that means. Doesn't mean that it's hardware.
I understand what you mean, that you can get anything to run, like almost. And
I would venture to guess that if when it's running, it would be identical. It's just not financially worth their while to go spend the 6 months to do so and not get the sales that would warrant the 6 months spending the time. Whereas, as you know, and I know, when we're talking about a Switch, there's a higher user base, so obviously there's a better chance that more people will play it. So now it is worth your while to go open code and add it all in.
EA and WB and they saw it viable to backport like Jedi Fallen Order.
Absolutely, because their calculus is different.
And Hogwarts Legacy.
Their calculus is different than CDPR, which is a pseudo-independent company.
I see you, Paris.
Different calculus. Right? I'm just saying.
Listen, I don't want us to get too far into the weeds on this.
Let's not get sidetracked.
I can't take too. I can't. I don't have too much time.
Yeah. So
let's talk
about
real quick. Real quick.
Super chats.
Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Before we get to the super chats, because super chats we can do after Don is gone.
Okay, but one was his. That's why I wanted to talk to him.
Yeah. But we must talk about the game prices because we haven't talked about that. And
very important.
I want to talk about Bonanza and Mario Kart World because obviously we have to talk about these games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just do a quick dive into the $80 and $90 game prices, and some of them are $70. So what does all this mean? Some games are $70, some games are $80, some games have a $10 markup for physical. Some physical games don't have the game on the disc, like Elden Ring, I think. So what does all this mean? Can somebody explain to me? Because I have no idea what's going on.
Don, do you know the rough breakdown? Go ahead. Yes. Go ahead. Yeah.
So I'm going to break it down because there's been a lot of misinformation that's been spreading. First off, it's not $90 in the US. There's no $90 physical. It's literally just $80 for digital and physical. So it's not that 80-90.
It was the same price. So then where did the 80-90 split conversation come from? Because I saw that.
It was, I believe that came from Euro pricing, and people were trying to convert it to the US, but it didn't actually translate to the same. But if you go on Best Buy, if you go on Target, and you try to pre-order the physical versions of these games, you'll only see the $79.99 prices.
So it's $80.
$80.
So what we're saying is Switch 2 games, AAA Switch 2 games are $80. Is that it?
Yes, and it's not. That's not the standard. This is
okay.
So I'm gonna take it back to the Switch 1.
Okay.
The price of Switch 1 games, by large, for the most for their first party, $59.99 for their bigger titles, right? Across the board. But there was one game, only one game that broke that $70 price range. Y'all remember that game?
Which game was this? Breath of the Wild?
Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, Tears. Okay.
Broke the $60 price range, right?
Yeah, broke that $60 into the $70 range.
Yeah.
So the reason for that was because it is the only first-party game to release on a 32 gigabyte cartridge. The only first-party
because the cartridge is more expensive. Okay.
Now, they have updated these cartridges, and they're now faster to match the storage speeds that the Switch 1 did not have. They didn't have the same capabilities. That's why the Switch 2 cartridges are upgraded. But the new standard that you're going to see for these are not the 16 gigabyte cartridges anymore. It's going to be the 32 gigabyte cartridges. Donkey Kong Bonanza is on a 32 gigabyte cartridge. It is $70. Then Mario Kart World is on a 64 gigabyte cartridge, which is a first, and that is $80. The cartridge is the reason, and that is the only time that you will see these games jump up to $80, is to basically facilitate these higher cost cartridges. Because back in the Switch 1, these 16 gigabyte cartridges that were standard, they were much higher than a Blu-ray disc as far as cost goes. But Nintendo was eating the prices and still charging $60. 32 gigabyte cartridges were over 60% more expensive than the Blu-ray discs. So now you can say, oh, Nintendo should just eat the cost. Yeah, cool. But at the end of the day, they're a business. There are certain things that you just like at a certain point, you have to make business decisions. And
so Don, let me ask you real quick about the cartridge specific, right? For a long time, I've heard people talk about, and we don't have too much time, so we'll get through this quickly. I've heard a lot of people talk about how Nintendo is the only one keeping forever physical alive and whatnot, right?
Yes.
But to my understanding, with this new cart system, that is no longer the case. The new carts cannot be played offline like they used to be. They are not games on a disc that you own, on a cart that you own, and that's it, right? These are now themselves also hex keys now.
This is also misinformation.
Okay, speak on it.
Because there are cartridges that work just like Switch did. You put Mario Kart World in, no download unless there's an update, obviously. But you're not downloading any data off of the cartridge, and you're not downloading any data off the internet. You put it in on day one, and it will play outside of there's a day one patch or something. Sure.
And
then there's Street Fighter 6.
Yep.
Because of the cost of these cartridges, there are third parties who obviously they're not going to eat the cost of those cartridges.
They're going to make you pay for the cost.
Yeah, but they also don't feel like if they charge $80 for their games, they're going to get the same. They're going to get the same sales that Nintendo's going to get with Mario Kart World.
Okay, so how are they threading that needle? Yeah.
So they have the game key cards. That is a separate ops bot. What are you doing? Hold on. I don't know why they zooming in on me. Hold on.
Okay. What are you doing?
So that's the middle ground where you get the game key card. It goes in like a cartridge. It looks like the cartridge, goes in like the cartridge, but it's a digital copy that just has a key to it. And it basically acts as it used to be you put a code in a box.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize, but I must address this first. Lucius says, "What about Cyberpunk 2077 on a 64 cart that's only $7?"
Yeah,
what about that?
I was literally going to get that. No.
No. And then he says, "The reason your camera's acting that way is because your camera."
So let me get to that. I'm gonna get to that. So the key cards are for the third parties who don't want to eat the cost of that, and they put their games like Street Fighter 6, $60, has the first 2 years of DLC, but you have to download them through the game key card, and it still works like a physical game. You have to have that card in to play them, but the difference between putting a code in the box that they were doing with the Switch 1 is that you can sell these, you can lend them to friends. They're not tied to your account. So they still have the benefits. It still has the benefits of a physical game, but you just don't save your space.
I get it. It's basically it's dual entitle. Well, it's entitlement based on digital association, but the digital association is associated to the card and not to your account. So wherever that card goes, that digital game follows.
Now, Cyberpunk 2077 is on a 64 gigabyte card, and they are charging $70 for it. That is just because CDPR is that guy. They are that guy because they did the same thing with The Witcher 3. They charged $60 for The Witcher 3 on a 32 gigabyte card.
But I thought you said it's a business and they got to make money. What happened to that?
CDPR, they don't care. They
don't need to make money.
Hey, CDPR, they are a different breed. If you think the whole industry is CDPR, if the whole industry was CDPR, we would probably be in a much better state than we are today. But they are
not at launch of last gen. But we can talk about that.
Hey, I don't know what you're talking about, but when I was on my PC, I was having a good old time. We'll move forward. I have a couple super chats, but quickly, I want to address Donald Taku super chat at the top, and then we'll get the rest of them because I want to be out of here by 3:30. So the great Donald Taku with a $10 super chat. Well, 3:30, 3 hours and 30 minutes. We're 3:18 now.
Or 1:30.
3:18 now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Donald Taku, $10 super chat. He said Xbox bought all these AA studios, gave them more time and resources just for them to put out games that with the same issues they had while independent. Tired of it. Nintendo could never. Oh boy. Everborn Saga, Seize him, sir. Go ahead.
You're not gonna be out here making comments like that while the Pokemon game's coming out looking the way they look. That's the first thing. It's exclusive to Nintendo, right? Please and thanks. All right. Now the next thing is once again, Ninja Theory and Compulsion just put out the 2 best games they ever made. Barely. Under Microsoft's tutelage.
Barely.
And I'm not even gonna say it's not even Ninja Theory's best game. Like, as a gameplay first person, me who does not like, story is an additive, narrative is an additive.
You gonna say Heavenly Sword? Is that what you're going with?
It's putting Tonys on this, like, you put a little Tonys on it. That's all it is. But the gameplay is the course. That is the meal.
But you got to put Tonys on everything.
You know what?
So you need the story.
There are some things you don't need Tonys for. Like, there are some things.
Remember, he is a Nintendo gamer who, as long as you give him boops and dots, it's fine.
If you have a steak, you don't need to put Tonys on that. Sometimes if you have an amazing steak, all you need is a little salt and pepper, bro. Like, that's just how he is.
Hey, Nintendo, if you have a real steak, you don't even need that. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I feel you, bro. Nintendo, they put out steaks back to back. We are a Brazilian steakhouse. That's all. We got expensive, exquisite meats out here. Pause.
Oh, that is so. It is definitely not expensive. It is definitely not exquisite. The reason they're successful is because they make sure you will buy their
people. Stay focused. We don't got a lot of time.
They give you the bite-sized, it's cuts, small cuts. They give it to you, and then you get like that.
Okay. Okay. Stickable with a $5 super chat. He says, my lawyer has added Don's knees to his trophy cabinet with many fallen knees. Let's go.
I don't know about that one. I ain't seen no knees.
So the point is these studios that were acquired by Microsoft in 2018 have all done their best work under there, right? Because guess what? Look at the upgrade from Psychonauts to Psychonauts 2. You're not gonna want to give him credit for that. Look at how Playground has leveled up when they put out Forza that had even Nintendo copying them. Look at so then you come to
they were doing that before they were acquired, though. Forza Horizon 5 and Forza Horizon 2, the same game.
But how many numbers you got on Forza Horizon 5?
Stop that. You need to stop. Forza Horizon 2 is not the same. Get out of here with that.
Forza Horizon formula has changed since 2.
Okay.
It's the same formula.
Hold on. Why don't you talk to me about Mario Brothers shit?
Oh, we can talk
before you worried about these Xbox studios.
Okay. Now I will say order in the court. Order. Calm down, ladies and gentlemen. Sycamore, $5 super chat. He says, I can't trust Don to defend me in court. Too many holes in his argument. Officer, give me my McDonald's. I will snitch and take the time. Well done,
good.
sir.
That might be the chat of the day.
Floodzilla, $5 super chat. He says Switch 2 is about as powerful as the Staples easy button. There you go.
All right. So
is that? No, we're not done. We're not done. Last one. Victor Alice with a $5 super chat. He says, I think it's better the studios figure it out than depend on another. Like how Bloober did it and hired a combat programmer, which made the difference. Yes. And I think he was talking about the idea of why is it that Compulsion doesn't look to other studios, for example, for different combat elements. It's better, in his estimation, that they figure it out themselves.
I disagree with that. And there is a lot of cross collaboration between the studios. There's things that are set up by, I won't say his name because Slow-Mo will get triggered, but his name starts with an M.
Engine. I'm pretty sure they went to Coalition and
they do like meetups within the org so that they can get together and trade ideas. But I think the thing with South of Midnight specifically, because this is what you were really what triggered this.
Yeah,
Xbox doesn't really have a third person action adventure melee combat game like that. that you can point to from their first party studios that could give them that kind of advice right now. And so that's a muscle that they have to build. Now, if this was a shooter and the shooting mechanics wasn't right, then we can have that discussion. So I think that's what it is. This is just something that they got to figure out.
Yep. And by the way, I'll say this, and it's slanderous, and y'all gonna come for me, but I'm gonna still say it and be 10 toes down on it. What do you call it? What the hell is it called? What's the name of that game, that the vampire game that turned out really, really badly? Slipping my mind right now. Yeah, the Xbox vampire game.
Oh, Redfall.
Xbox vampire game. Redfall had great shooting mechanics.
Oh yeah,
they have great talented shooters in the. It had great shooting. That was not its problem.
Right? And let's be clear, chat really quick. I'm talking about the 2018 studios, and I said that many times. And Slow-Mo says Obsidian hasn't done their best work under Microsoft, and I would say they're at their best output level ever.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that.
And, no. Okay, I will say
real quick before you say this, Don. And Grounded was cool. Not for me, but a lot of people liked it. But let's see what Outer Worlds, because a lot of people say Outer Worlds is their best work. Let's see what Outer Worlds 1 was
excellent. Mm-hmm.
Right. Let's see what Outer World 2 is this year. Right. And Slow-Mo, I don't think anybody's saying that Grounded was their best work.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying
no one's saying that.
It's their best sort of.
Oh no. He's taking me to task. He says Redfall did not have great.
This is what I'm saying. That's what I said. The less we say about that, the better.
No.
Making us look credible, sir.
Look. The shooting mechanics in Redfall in other games would be fine. Redfall had all the Stankonia on it. The shooting mechanics are not what brought that thing down. That's what I'm saying.
The patches or like day one? No.
Oh, I'm talking about Redfall today.
Okay.
Today. Sure. Anyway.
Slow-Mo.
But let's move on.
Slow-Mo in the chat. Just put in the chat what you think Obsidian's best work is today.
Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're getting to around the end of our episode. We've had a great Nintendo conversation. Before we go, I think I'll do one question. We'll go around the horn, and then we'll get to the outros. This one is for you, Don Otaku. We'll do that, and then we'll ask you to tell the people where they can find you. But my question to you is: I know you've said that you think the Switch was a 10. Was it 10 out of 10? You said it was 9 out of 10. 10 out of 10. You said it was a 9 out of 10. Okay, 9 out of 10. Okay.
I gave it a 9 initially. I took a half a point away when I learned about the battery life. So I'm right there with
you. Okay. So in a year from now, when we have this conversation, when you're here on this show, will we be talking about the Switch taking over? Will we be having the same Switch-like conversation? Or do you think the Switch the Switch 2 will go back to being its partner device as it always has been? Will this become the mainstay, or will Nintendo's efforts not necessarily work and it continues to be you play that when you want Nintendo games? What do you think?
As long as Nintendo is making handhelds, that's all it needs to be, because that is people who want power. They're not going to go to the Switch. Now, I can say, I don't know though. It really just depends on if third-party support is day and date instead of coming later, like it did for the Switch one. Because I feel like the coming later part is the only that deterred a lot of people who were who had a Switch. I feel like if it runs fine, and by fine I mean 1080p 30, stable 30 from third parties, then I feel like that actually would be enough for the average average consumer, honestly. 40 frame per second mode also would come in handy though, just like Steam Deck. But I feel like that if we start to see let's say a GTA 6 drops, Call of Duty drops every year, the 2Ks, FIFAs, Maddens, and they all run. They don't run like trash. Basically, they just have to run good.
Okay.
I think the Switch could be something that people can see as their third-party machine as well, just because of the convenience of the handheld hybrid system. But I still feel like it's going to be a Nintendo console that is
Nintendo box.
Yeah, but
okay,
that's all it needs to be, because it's gonna, like, if it hits the stride that the Switch did, like, let's say for whatever reason, $449 is still good for the people who had a Switch One.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just needs to be a device that can play Nintendo games and play the best Nintendo games exclusively. That's where we're at. As long as the Nintendo games are still good, there will be room for it.
Yeah, I think the conversation about the success or lack thereof cannot really.
This camera.
What is happening right now? No, so I think the conversation about success, I don't think we can have that this year, because I think there's enough fans to, even if they say they're aiming for the rumored from Bloomberg 20 million in year one, I think they have enough of a base to not be able to keep them on shelves, or if not very long, for year one. It's going to be year two when it's time for the casual.
That's when it'll matter. Yes, that's when it'll matter.
You know what I'm saying? For the people who are not the hardcore, I think that's when we have to assess whether how it's going to do in the market, right? I think year one is going to sell out no matter what they do. We even saw that with the Xbox.
Even the Wii U sold out. So.
Right. So let's get to year two and then assess if this is a Wii U or not.
Don Otaku, sir, with that last question. Oh, and you're not on. I will ask you. Well, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Hello?
Now we can. We couldn't a minute ago. I will ask you to thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, sure.
Appreciate you lending your Nintendo cap and voice to the proceedings. I know people in the chat getting all slanderous. Tell the people where they can find you. Tell us where they can keep up all your ongoings. I know you do a show. Tell the people where they can find that show, sir.
Yeah, man. Appreciate y'all for having me on. Y'all can find me on Twitter correcting all of this misinformation and false narratives. I'm out there defending Nintendo with my life. Y'all can catch
with
me
his life.
Pasta Feet. Y'all can see it on there. F3ET. Don't ask about the name. But also you can find me on YouTube at Don Otaku, where I do the Project Untitled Gaming Podcast, which will be premiering in 2 hours. So just go ahead and pull up.
Not better. Damn.
Chill. But you know, more Nintendo, Tips Force coming up in 2 hours. So pull up. Y'all can throw stones in the chat. I will make sure to shoot all of you down when I have.
You will dodge that stuff like the Matrix. How you do?
So Project Untitled Gaming every Saturday, most of the time at 10 a.m. But since I was working 12:30 Pacific time, Pacific, and then also every Thursday I do a show with my co-host of Bagels. That is a one-on-one conversation versus having a full panel. But yeah, that one is every Thursday, Dual Wheel Gaming Podcast. So make sure y'all tune into that as well. I actually didn't give my thoughts on the direct itself, but I just want to say, bro, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Fully Destructible World, Crackdown can never. Mario Kart World, better than Forza. We don't need that Forza Horizon anymore. And then no. Let me. I gotta say some negatives because y'all making it seem like I'm just a total glazer. So I do have some negatives that I wanted to.
Okay.
Let them go.
Go ahead. Yeah.
The Welcome Tour, bullshit, complete bullshit. All right, Welcome Tour, trash. $10 for that is a ripoff. I will have nothing to do with that. Drag X Drive, their other new IP. Terrible. ARMS was better. I'd rather play 1-2 Switch than that shit. It looked ass. It don't look like anything Nintendo would actually make. Like, it looked terrible. I didn't want anything to do with that as well. the Switch 2 editions. Also, I came at PlayStation for charging for updates, for graphical updates. I'm coming at Nintendo.
Don, is it true that if you have the online that you don't have to pay for?
Yeah, those updates are free. Yeah, that was the question. Yeah.
Only the 2 Zelda games are free with NSO. So if you have NSO, you get the 2 Zelda game upgrades for free.
Is it just NSO or you have to NSO plus extra?
I'm pretty sure it's with expansion pack because the DLCs are usually
NSO plus extra
here.
Okay.
Now, I also have to.
So in other words, only with Game Pass Ultimate. Continue.
But also So I also think the ones with the expansion packs that are $20 extra, I can kind of tolerate that because it is an expansion. Like you're getting something out of it rather than it just being a graphical update. So I'll give them that at least. But everything else though, fire. Like I think this was an amazing show. I just wanted to see more from the first party, but I feel like we'll be getting a September direct, maybe even a June direct. That a lot more.
Don, I had another question for you that I wanted to ask because I heard King David mention something like this. I was listening to Frontline News. Shout out to King David. But he said something that he heard after the fact. There's some updates to this whole like social aspect of the Switch 2. Are we still gonna have to do the social security code for the user, or do we get rid of
Switch codes? The friend codes are still going to be a thing.
All right. And what about anything that resembles achievements? Like people can see these trophy achievements type medals. I think I heard it was called.
So I am someone who believes that achievements ruin games. It ruins gaming. And Nintendo has not done system level achievements, but all of their games have achievements. You can't share them. It's for you. You can see them yourself, but I think that is a better way of doing it than the whole.
But is that changing for the Switch 2 with the whole chat and social thing? Will those people in your feed be able to see that you got these medals?
I doubt it. That's just me though. There's no confirmation of that, but I just don't see it happening because they added achievements to Zelda with the Switch 2 edition, but. I don't think that it's going to be something you can just like see on someone's profile.
Okay.
Gotta be honest with you, Don. If I still got to use my social security number to talk to people, that is to me still an L, man. That is unfortunate.
As far as I don't know, we'll have to see, but I think they will have a normal invite kind of system. If you've played with if you've played with someone before, you can already invite them. Regularly.
It's about inviting someone for the first time.
Yeah. So like if you've never interacted with someone, you need the friend code. But if you've like played with someone online, you can go to the recently played with and you can add them as a friend.
Bro, we're just asking for usernames. Like this is not.
But I also like having my username without having the pound 456 afterwards.
Hey, I'm Everborn Saga everywhere. I don't got
instead
no
it's like
4-5
instead of Everborn Saga pound 456, instead you'd rather 35454535456. Like that's ridiculous.
As long as they don't show in the
that's
name,
even worse.
It depends on if they show it or not, because some don't show the actual number. But I feel. Oh, also we one last thing. I took another half off because we got the game chat, voice chat, party chat, all of that's there. I didn't see anything about messaging. Can I just shoot a text to my friends to be like, hey, are you on? Blah blah blah. Can you get on? Like you trying to see? I ain't see nothing about this.
You can on your phone.
I saw that.
Like how you used
to. On the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm still like if they don't have some kind of messaging system, that's also kind of gotta. I don't know about that, but it is what it is, I guess.
Okay. Well, okay. So let the record show. I, for one, am pretty excited for what the hardware they showed off. For Nintendo, and maybe I'm grading them on a curve. For Nintendo, I think this is a step in the right direction to move forward. Right? Y'all have heard me calling them the abacus for years. We'll see how the hardware shakes out. Maybe I'll start calling them an 8-track player. We'll see. I hope it's better. I hope it's newer. But right now, I still contend that we need them to show us more hardware, more software, more details before we have an understanding of fundamentally what this is. And that prices, we don't have too much time to get into it. But I will tell you, in my humble estimation, mark my words, if this becomes like the way gaming moves, where $80 is a standard for any platform,
I forgot to talk about that.
Piracy will be big in this environment.
I'll talk about that.
Piracy will be huge in this environment. If they don't quell the pricing, piracy will be a problem again, and it'll be their own doing. I'm just saying, like, and I know people are like, oh yeah, you can't do that. Switch is new and more secure. Yeah, give it a minute.
Yeah.
Give it a minute. We'll see. There hasn't
been a single Nintendo console that wasn't that wasn't able to be pirated. So
right. So that $80 standards and this is 80, this is 70. If you brush up against that a little too much, people will start putting the eye patches back on, and you will be no one's fault but your own. It is what it is. But Everborn Saga, sir.
Yes, there's two things. Firstly, I want to address something we were talking about with Slow-Mo earlier about Obsidian. Slow-Mo did dig in the crates. He also, and so to be fair, I will give him KOTOR, South Park, Fallout New Vegas, none of which were released in the last decade. So when we look at the state of where Obsidian was in 2018,
they needed help.
I think and I think that they've been positively affected from the acquisition.
Yes,
I definitely don't think Obsidian in 2018 got worse than where they were in 2018.
Yes,
but
without the Xbox acquisition, they would have been worse off. They needed the assistance.
Slow-Mo is correct though. Their decade-old games were better than
now. Yes.
2018 Obsidian, I think you've seen improved. Now that being said, one thing.
Outro.
Yes, outro. This is the last thing I'm going to say. This is not slanderous.
Peace out, y'all.
Oh yes,
thank
Don,
you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you, Don.
I will say, with everything that's going on with the global,
you have to do this, right? We can't have this conversation. You want to just drop this bomb and then walk out?
I am just saying, I feel very good about this purchase after seeing the direct, which I'm very excited for. Gave it 8.5, and with what everything that's going on right now, this is sitting real nice right now. I'm feeling real good about this. But that being said, May 3rd and 4th, you'll be able to find the Everborn Saga at the Garden State Anime Fest. I will get the address for that for you guys for next week. Anybody's in the New Jersey or tri-state area, you can come see us there. You can go to everbornsaga.com right now, get one of these Charge Them More shirts, or you can get one of the CEG shirts or any of the Everborn stuff that we have along with our comics. 15% off when you use code GCP at checkout. Apparently I'll be at PAX East the week after the 3rd and 4th. So and in the meantime, I will be trying to get my pre-order secured for the Switch 2.
As will I, ladies and gentlemen. We'll both be securing our pre-orders for the Switch 2. Shout out to the great Donna Taku for being here and for jumping in the chat and always letting his voice. I have put his information and his YouTube channel in the chat. So please go ahead and hit that button and go ahead and follow that man. Go ahead and subscribe to his channel. He does good work. He loves his Switch. He loves his Nintendo platform. And if you're about that life and you want to know more information, he is the source you should be adding to your rotation as well. Last super chat of the day from the great Web Dave, whose show I will be on, the Gamers Council. I will be on Sunday evening. So come check us out there. Great Web Dave says, hit the like button. LA bound Everborn and Jedi K Asante. Yes, we will catch you, Web Dave, in LA as well, because yes, this will be the year of meeting people in person and pressing the flesh and really connecting in a higher level way. So I'm super excited to be going there in June. And of course, as we discussed here live, if you happen to be in the New York, Boston area, even Jersey, I think you can make it. Head to PAX East. We're gonna be there. We're gonna find our way there. We're gonna have some fun there. More information to come. But I think that's it, Everborn Saga. Between that, the great Donald Taku and all the great Nintendo conversations, I think we are about at the end of the episode.
Yeah,
if you haven't done so. Mhm. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
want to thank Don Otaku for coming through because this is a big
Absolutely.
Nintendo week. We've been waiting for this
Yep.
for 8 years, and he is in the community anyway, one of the foremost Nintendo people. So I really appreciate Don Otaku coming out and sparring with us. It's
That's
all
right.
just jokes. We're all super excited about this thing. That's why we do this. So I thought, you know, I appreciate Don coming through, and I'm very hyped for the Switch 2.
Absolutely. And with that, I think we're done. It's been cool. 3 hours and 44 minutes. I think we there. For me and Mr. Charge Them More himself, that's it. Shout out to Don Otaku for being here. Shout out to you, good sir. Thank you so much for lending your voice. But we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Thanks for being on it.